Chapter 181. Freak revealing his might, 1. I'll deal with these people later. As for this unbelievably beautiful woman, I'll leave her to warm my bed. I'll let her know the consequences of provoking me. Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue's clear voice sounded in the dark night. When she told him her name, she successfully saw the change in Su Qian's expression just as she wished. So you are Lung Ruoxue? Su Qian said calmly on the surface, but he was surprised on the inside. He had long heard that Lung Ruoxue was a stunning beauty. And seeing her today, it was indeed true. But what surprised him even more was that Lung Ruoxue actually came knocking on his door. Were my plans with the Shui and Yi families exposed? No, that's impossible. We carried out this matter very secretly, and the Shui and Yi families would definitely not betray me. Then, what is the source of Lung Ruoxue's information? Su Qian kept thinking about it as his gloomy eyes examined the people around Lung Ruoxue. He didn't recognize any of them, and even Lung Qingtian was not among them. He was immediately relieved. Are you Su Qian? Lung Ruoxue addressed him directly by name. How dare you call the patriarch by his name? A dog beside Su Qian barked first before he could say anything. Impudent! How can you be so rude to Miss Lung? Su Qian's eyes widened as he scolded the dog beside him. With Lung Ruoxue's status, it was a pity to be just a bed-warming beauty, so he immediately changed his mind and started treating her with respect. Miss Lung, I am Su Qian. Sorry for being rude. After reprimanding his subordinate, Su Qian immediately turned his head with a big smile on his face and spoke to Lung Ruoxue amiably, giving her enough face. Since acting patriarch Su is so polite, I am embarrassed to make the first move. Why don't you make the first move? Lung Ruoxue said softly. Her beautiful smile hung on her drop-dead gorgeous face, and the Su family members opposite instantly fell into a daze. I have always been polite. What is the meaning of this, Miss Lung? After a long while, Su Qian returned to his senses and spoke with displeasure. But the amazement in his eyes was obvious, and he didn't hide it at all. Didn't acting patriarch Su want to get rid of me? I've knocking on your door now, Lung Ruoxue explained very kindly. She was such a kind child. She knew that someone wanted to kill her, but she actually took the initiative to come knocking on his door. How is this possible? I have no grudges with Miss Lung. Who is it? How dare they frame me like this? Su Qian roared with a face full of anger. He originally wanted to kill Lung Ruoxue, but after seeing her in person he couldn't bear to. It would be a pity to kill such a drop-dead beauty. He, Su Qian, had always been protective of the fairer sex. Your ally told me, Lung Ruoxue said evilly without changing expression. They were not united anyway, so she would get these dogs to bite at each other. Hee, Miss Lung really likes to joke, Su Qian said with a smile, seeming very good-tempered. But in his heart he kept thinking, who betrayed me? The Shui family or the Yi family? Alas! I told you the truth, but you don't believe me, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Why doesn't Su Qian believe me? Didn't everyone say that he's paranoid? Swear, why are you wasting your breath on him? Just kill him. Freak said furiously. This old pervert actually dares to have ideas about Swear. He really doesn't know life from death. Who are you? Su Qian narrowed his dark eyes and questioned coldly. As the saying went, like repels like. Su Qian naturally didn't have a good impression of such a stunning male, and his tone was even more impossible to be good. I am Shuer's fiancé, Freak said proudly as he pulled Lung Ruoxue into his arms to show his ownership. Fiancé? I'll duel with this fiancé then. Su Qian's anger was mixed with raging flames of jealousy while looking at the couple leaning against each other. He directly raised his large hand and attacked Yichen. The wind in his palm contained light blue spiritual power, and the cold air was intimidating. Frosty palm. Lung Qingtian couldn't help exclaiming. This should be the Su family's unique frosty palm. This palm technique unleashed a water element spiritual skill, and it was extremely sinister. Once the wind from the palm hit someone, they would immediately be frozen into ice. The Bodis-in and the cold would intertwine, and the frost poison would linger in their body. It was somewhat similar to Charm's ice attribute spiritual skill, only more sinister and vicious. There were many ways for spiritualists in this world to unleash spiritual skills. Most of them liked to use weapons such as knives and swords. But spiritualists who released spiritual skills through weapons also needed to master certain saber skills, sword skills, and so on. A very small number of powerhouses liked to use their palms to release spiritual skills without relying on any weapons. But this also required mastery of palm techniques to increase the power of spiritual skills. The Su family was a family famous for their palm techniques. After seeing Su Qian's frosty palm, Yichen calmly pushed Shuer to a safe spot by the side and directly faced the powerful palm wind heading straight for him. "What spiritual skill is this?" the old man watching the battle said in surprise. During the battle, Yichen released a ball of black spiritual power. That ball of spiritual power directly entangled with the water attribute spiritual power in the palm wind, and the two intertwined. After a few minutes, Yi Chen's black spiritual power swallowed Su Qian's spiritual power. And then, as if it was full, it returned to its master's side contentedly. "I don't know." Leng Qingtian shook his head with a puzzled expression. He had never seen or heard of the spiritual skill that Yi Chen used. But this spiritual skill was not ordinary. So far, Leng Qingtian had yet to see anything that this spiritual skill couldn't swallow. "Where's my spiritual power?" Su Qian asked in disbelief while staring at Yi Chen as though he was a monster. "I ate it. Give me some more." "I'm not full yet," Yi Chen said lightly with a mesmerizing smile on his face. He was really infuriating. "You are too presumptuous. I will make you regret it." Su Qian roared furiously. He gathered more spiritual power in his palm, and his entire palm turned dark blue. He swept his palm at Yi Chen with an even stronger wind, and the spiritual power in his palm wind was nearly 10 times more than before. Even the surrounding trees and buildings were covered in a thin layer of ice because of this fierce wind. Chapter 182, Freak Revealing His Might, 2. "Freak, be careful," Leng Ruoxue said worriedly. She could still feel the chill even though she was far away. Some of the Su family's spiritualists with low cultivation levels fainted from the cold. "Yes, I will be careful," Freak said happily and did not forget to wink at Shuer with a smug expression on his face. I knew that Shuer cared about me. So happy." But his smug expression deeply provoked Su Qian. Su Qian furiously struck out several times. A massive amount of light blue spiritual power that had turned dark blue rushed at Yi Chen one after another. "First Elder, does the patriarch want to die?" A Su family elder watching the battle couldn't help asking softly. How could the water attribute heavenly spiritual skill Earthshaker be used in such a way? Heavenly spiritual skills had extremely high requirements for spiritual power. And heavenly spiritual skills at the level of Earthshaker could only be used as a sure kill move. This method, recklessly used, would likely exhaust your spiritual power even if you won the battle in the end, and you might even be unable to use spiritual power for the rest of your life. The first elder of the Su family had been watching the battle silently, but he was panicking in his heart. Now that the acting patriarch had lost his reason from being provoked, no one would be able to dissuade him at all. Moreover, these people had ill intentions. Today could be said to be the Su family's calamity. Fortunately, he had foresight and had already sent people to invite the patriarch over. He believed that as long as the patriarch came, the crisis of the Su family would be resolved. Therefore, he had long stopped caring about Su Qian and pinned all his hopes on the patriarch. After all, the Su family had no lack of descendants. Yi Chen saw several groups of dark blue spiritual power converge and fly toward him at the same time. He casually released the same number of black spiritual power, each of which automatically sought out their opponents and attacked separately. Yi Chen smiled faintly as he looked at Su Qian, who had lost his reason due to jealousy. His hand released a black blade beam that flew towards Su Qian at lightning speed. Bang! Su Qian collapsed to the ground and died. At the same time, Su Qian's water attribute spiritual power was completely devoured. "Patriarch! Patriarch! You killed our patriarch. Well, fight you to the death. Fight! Don't let them go." When everyone in the Su family saw Su Qian's death, they were collectively angry. Their acting patriarch was killed outside their house. It was absolutely a great humiliation. Come at me together. Yi Chen's eyes glittered as he looked at the Su family. Brothers, let's attack together and avenge the patriarch, someone in the crowd shouted, instantly arousing everyone's fighting spirit. Right, let's attack together. Don't let him go. Take revenge for the patriarch. The Su family swarmed forward and surrounded Yi Chen, planning to gang up on him. Little girl, should we help? The old man asked pretentiously. Every human or beast with this girl was abnormal, so he wasn't worried about that boy at all. He can handle these small fries by himself. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Oh, then he'll just watch the excitement, the old man said with a smile, looking like he was watching a good show. In fact, his hands were a little itchy. Who knew when that big fish would come out? His younger fish were all going to die. Alas, young people nowadays are really abnormal. In the blink of an eye, the old man found that more than half of the Su family members had died, and he didn't even see how the freakishly handsome man did it. Am I really that old? Is my vision lacking? Thinking of this possibility, the old man was depressed. Bang, bang, bang. In less than 10 minutes, the people from the Su family collapsed onto the ground one after another and died. Why didn't you do anything? Where are the men in black from your Su family? Yi Chen asked arrogantly while pointing at the Su family's only breathing elder. Why? The first elder of the Su family was a peak spiritual sovereign, but he was still scared stiff by the vicious Yi Chen. He was trembling all over and even stammered when he spoke. Me? What about me? Hurry up and get the rest of your Su family to come out. Yi Chen said with a fighting spirit. He hadn't fought so refreshingly in a long time. Who dares to be so brazen in my Su family? A loud, domineering, and extremely dignified voice resounded in Yi Chen's ears. That old thing is finally out, the old man said happily, almost dancing with joy. He had been waiting for this old thing. Patriarch. Upon hearing the voice of the Su family's patriarch, the first elder cried with excitement as he yelled into the sky. Su Biao, what happened? Dozens of figures appeared simultaneously. Leading them was a black-clothed old man with white hair. He had an ordinary appearance, and his face was covered with the wrinkles of time. His small eyes were bright and full of life, and they emitted a ruthless and scheming glow. His bright eyes were looking at Yi Chen, Lung Ruoxue, and the others constantly. Who are you? Did you kill the people of my Su family? Su Xing, the patriarch of the Su family, shouted coldly, his eyes releasing intense killing intent. He was even more furious when he saw the large number of people lying on the ground already dead. His lungs almost exploded from anger. Patriarch, the woman leading them is Lung Ruoxue, the Su family's first elder said hurriedly. Lung Ruoxue. Su Xing's murderous gaze turned around, and then he stared at the only woman present as if he was staring at prey. It has nothing to do with her. I killed them. I am Yi Chen, a member of the Yi family. Yi Chen said evilly. From the Yi family? Die. Su Xing roared furiously and directly attacked Yi Chen. Brat, move aside. Leave this old thing to me. The old man roared and impatiently jumped into the middle of the battlefield to fight with Su Xing. Chapter 183, Freak Revealing His Might, 3. Seeing how eager the old man was, Yi Chen didn't fight with him. He withdrew from the battle consciously and stood beside Shuer to watch the fight. The battle between two spiritual supremacies was indeed exquisite and exciting. Colorful spiritual power danced in the night sky, and various spiritual skills were thrown out like flowing water. Grandpa, shall we deal with those men in black? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes locked onto the men in black brought by Su Xing. These people were more than a little stronger than the Su family members just now. There were even a few spiritual supremacies among them. Although they were only at the elementary stage, they had to be eliminated early to prevent any unexpected mishaps. Okay. Lung Qingtian nodded and charged toward the nearest man in black. Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and the others also immediately joined the battle. With the combined efforts of the 3 people and numerous beasts, Su Xing's men in black and the first elder of the Su family soon went on their way to see the gods. While fighting with the old man, Su Xing unintentionally turned his head and found that all his people were dead. He was so angry that he directly spurted out a mouthful of blood. "Old thing, you are too disgusting," the old man said with a face full of disdain as he jumped slightly to avoid the blood Su Xing spat out. This old thing's ability to bear surprises is too weak. He can't even bear this little stimulation. Fortunately, the old man said this in his head, and Su Xing couldn't hear it. Otherwise, Su Xing would die of anger. Was his ability to bear surprises weak? These people were the fruits of his hard labor of more than a decade. But they were gone just like that? You destroyed my Su family. I, Su Xing, will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Wait for me. I will come back for you. Su Xing saw that the situation was hopeless and was unwilling to continue fighting. After laughing hysterically, a thick cloud of smoke enveloped Su Xing. After the smoke dissipated, Su Xing had disappeared without a trace. Oh no! He escaped. The old man felt that something was amiss and beat his chest and stamped his feet in frustration. Su Xing was a vengeful and cruel person. If he escaped, there would be no end of trouble in the future. What skill is that? Leng Ruoxue was surprised. She didn't expect Su Xing to escape in front of so many people. That's not a skill. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a long-lost teleportation scroll. I really didn't expect Su Xing to have this thing in his hand. Alas, I miscalculated. The old man was really regretful. If he had directly used his sure kill move just now, Su Xing would definitely not have escaped. Quill, can you find Su Xing? Leng Ruoxue asked Quill, who had been flying in the air. Quill could see through objects within a radius of 10,000 meters. No, master, Quill answered after scanning the area. Old man, where does that scroll usually go? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Not sure. That kind of scroll is divided into directional or random teleportation. No one knows where it will lead except the user, the old man explained. He still regretted it even now. Old man, calm down. He's already run away. Even if you regret it so much, can you change this fact? Leng Ruoxue comforted. That's true. Even though the old man said this, he wasn't as open-minded as Leng Ruoxue and was still conflicted. Old man, don't worry. Su Xing doesn't know your identity. Even if he wants to take revenge, he will look for Shuer and me. He won't look for you. Yichen also spoke to console him. Before Shuer came, she had given this old man and her grandfather an appearance-changing pill. So as long as this old man didn't say anything, no one would know at all that he had a part in the Su family's affairs. You stinky brat. Am I the kind of person who's afraid of death? I'm just worried that we're in the open, and the enemy is in the dark. I'm afraid that he will use shady tricks on us, the old man explained angrily. Forget it. He's escaped. The most important thing now is to find him as soon as possible. Otherwise, none of us will be able to sleep well, Leng Qingtian said. Shuer and the others might not understand Su Xing, but he knew very well that this fellow was indeed big trouble. Master, everything is ready. At this moment, Rise and Dazzle, who had entered the Su family's main residence to clean up the battlefield and loot, ran back to Leng Ruoxue's side and spoke with a face as though they were presenting treasures. Several storage rings were hanging on each of the 2 little beasts' mouths and paws. Good. Leng Ruoxue touched the 2 beasts and put away all the rings unceremoniously. Little girl, these 2 beasts of yours are pretty good at this kind of business, the old man said with a look of envy. How can my beasts be so stupid? They haven't returned after so long. Of course, take a look at whose beasts they are, Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of pride. As her beasts, they had to be flexible, play dumb when they should play dumb, be cute when they should be cute, be ruthless when they should be ruthless, and be black-hearted when they should be black-hearted. Of course, they absolutely couldn't be soft-hearted when they should be robbing. Alas, there was nothing she could do. She had many family members and beasts. Her whole family needed her support. Leng Qinggang coughed lightly and said very seriously, Swear, let's keep a low profile. Yes, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue nodded vigorously. About an hour later, before they arrived at the Su family residence, the old man had sent his beasts to rob the Su family's shops. They finally completed the mission and returned triumphantly. The old man took the storage rings his beasts handed over and sent his divine sense into them. After he took a look, his satisfied face bloomed into a smile. Little girl, the matter here is resolved. Let's return to Phoenix City early. The old man said impatiently. This money was child's play for the upcoming expansion of the Eastern Lagoon Empire. Okay, let's go back. Lung Ruoxue also wanted to go back early. But before she left, she added fuel to the fire in the Su family's main residence. After that, the group returned to Phoenix City in a grandiose manner. Immediately after, the news of 3 imperial families and 3 great families being attacked and robbed by spirit beasts spread like wildfire across the entire Ling Feng continent. Right after that, there was a massive reshuffling on the Ling Feng continent. The Western Light Empire, the Northern Frost Empire, and the Central Universe Empire were leaderless, and there was serious internal strife. The allied forces of the Eastern Lagoon Empire and the Southern Dusk Empire, which had been waiting for the right time, combined forces to attack, and they divided the territories of the other 3 countries. Chapter 184, Freak Revealing His Might, 4. After the Su, Shui, and Yi families disappeared overnight, the Hua family took advantage of the situation and occupied all the shops and businesses of the 3 families. However, the Feng family, which was also a top family, didn't do anything, making people puzzled. The main residence of the Feng family. First Elder, someone came to ask me why we didn't take the opportunity to devour the shops of the 3 great families like the Hua family did, an elder said helplessly in the meeting room. During this period of time, people asked him this question every day. How did you reply? The first elder of the Feng family said indifferently with his eyes half closed. I said, our Feng family is short on manpower, and there are too many things to take care of in our businesses, the elder replied seriously. But when anyone asks about this in the future, all of you will say so. The first elder finalized a unified statement. Those 3 great families are basically empty shells. What's the use of them? Moreover, Su Xing's whereabouts are still unknown. At this time, whoever takes the lead will become Su Xing's first target for revenge. In the garden of General Lung's mansion. Shuer, what are you thinking about? Freak asked curiously. Shuer had been preoccupied with her thoughts for the past few days. In thinking about Su Xing, Lung Ruoxue said lightly as she leaned against him. Why are you thinking about that old thing? Don't think about him. You can only think about me. Freak said with a displeased face. An old bastard actually dares to let Shuer think about him. He's really courting death. What nonsense are you spouting? I'm thinking about where Su Xing is hiding. The Ling Feng continent is so big that it's really not easy to find someone. Thinking of this, Lung Ruoxue felt a little depressed. She had already released the news that whoever found Su Xing's traces would be heavily rewarded, but there had been no news of him until now. Moreover, for some reason, her heart had been feeling a little unsettled recently, as if something was about to happen. She didn't like this feeling, so it was better to find Su Xing as soon as possible. This way, everyone could be at ease. Shuer, this kind of thing can't be rushed. Didn't we already entrust Hell and the Mercenary Union to find his whereabouts? Freak comforted. He didn't want Shuer to worry over such a trivial matter. I wonder if Hell can find him, Lung Ruoxue said with uncertainty. Hell was a mysterious intelligence organization that had appeared out of thin air on the Ling Feng continent more than a decade ago. It specialized in selling all sorts of intelligence and claimed that there are things only you can't think of, there's nothing we don't know. But it had been so many days, and there was no news from Hell at all. She didn't know if this counted as ruining its own reputation. If even Hell can't find him, then others won't be able to either, Freak said very firmly. Then let's wait. I hope they won't disappoint me. Shuer, the patriarch and the first elder Hua family are here. While Lung Ruoxue was chatting with Freak, Lung Ruhen walked in from outside the garden to their side. What are they doing here? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. They didn't have much of a relationship. I don't know. They refused to tell me, Lung Ruhen said helplessly. He understood Shuer's temper very well. He knew that the Hua family had already offended his precious sister, so Shuer didn't want to meet them at all. But their grandfather wanted him to come, so he had to come. Freak, let's go to the palace to see big sister Imo. Lung Ruoxue turned to Freak and suggested. She was not in the mood to see the Hua family now. She had even turned away Hua Qing, let alone others. Okay. Freak nodded in agreement. Quill, take us to the palace. Lung Ruoxue let Quill out. Then she and Freak jumped onto Quill's back. Yes, master, Quill replied. He flapped his wings and soared into the sky. With a whoosh, he instantly transformed into a small black duck. Looking at his willful baby sister, Lung Ruhen shook his head helplessly and left the garden to report to his grandfather. In a side palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's Imperial Palace. Little girl, why do you have time to see this old man today? The old man, who was tending to the flowers and plants with his head lowered, asked curiously. The Hua family came to my house, so I had to hide, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly while sitting on a stone bench by the garden and leaning against Freak. She originally wanted to go to Big Sister Mo's place, but Li Yuan was there. She didn't want to be a third wheel, so she had to come to the old man's place. So my place has become your refuge? The old man glared at her with slight displeasure. This girl is really infuriating. She's finally come to see me, but she didn't come specially to coax me. The old man complained in his head. Not every place can become my refuge, Lung Ruoxue said lightly while looking at the old man who liked to throw tantrums. Well, that's true, the old man agreed. By the way, little girl, is there any news about that old thing Su Xing? The old man continued asking. But he didn't stop what he was doing as he carefully and cautiously moved his beloved flowers and plants to another place to replant them. Not yet. Ask Li Yuan and the others to keep a low profile so as not to attract trouble, Lung Ruoxue reminded. With the Hua family making such a big fuss, they would definitely not be able to escape when Su Xing came for revenge. After all, one was in the open, while the other was in the dark. It would be too easy for Su Xing to take revenge. Don't worry. I told them long ago. The old man was still very assured about Li Yuan, a more sensible descendant. This was also the main reason why he didn't stop Lung Ruoxue and the others from usurping the throne. Old man, we'll be going first. Be careful. Lung Ruoxue looked at the sky and felt that it was about time, so she stood up and prepared to leave. Go! The old man waved at the two people who had already sat on the Black Eagle. Then he lowered his head and continued with his work. After a short while, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. When she got down from Quill's back, she happened to meet the steward. Steward, has the Hua family left? Lung Ruoxue asked. They left a long time ago. Miss, why did you only return now? Old master was so worried. The steward kept nagging. Chapter 185. Freak revealing his might. 5. Got it. Let's go see Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue interrupted the steward's chatter. 2 drops of cold sweat hung on her forehead. This old man is really able to talk more and more. Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to Lung Qingshan's study and called out from outside the door, Grandpa. Shuer, come in. Lung Qingtian said from the study. Shuer, why did you come back so late? Lung Qingtian asked worriedly. Now was a critical period, and Su Xing had not been found yet. He didn't want his precious granddaughter to be in danger. I had a chat with the old man after I went to the palace, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She was like an obedient child in front of Lung Qingtian and couldn't ignore her grandfather's concern. After all, only her relatives in the world would know her strength and still worry about her safety, so her heart was full of gratitude. Shuer, is that old man okay? Lung Qingtian asked with concern. They hadn't seen each other since they returned to Phoenix City. Pretty good. I'm just a little worried about Su Xing, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She had already suggested that the old man move his descendants to a safe place. He would probably start making arrangements in 2 days. This way, even if Su Xing appeared, he wouldn't have to worry about the safety of his descendants. Shuer, have the people in the general's mansion been moved away? Lung Qingtian asked. The servants in the general's mansion had followed him for many years. He would feel heartbroken if they were injured because of his negligence. He'll send someone to notify the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, as well as Grandpa Lin. Lung Ruoxue frowned slightly as she thought about it. Send them all away in one shot. It would save them time from being distracted. No need. They'll go notify old Lin. Lung Qingtian stood up from his chair. This matter shouldn't be delayed. Then I'll go to the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. After discussing it, Lung Ruoxue and Lung Qingtian split up. In a secret room in the Feng family's main residence. First Elder, you were looking for me? Feng Miao, dressed in white, walked into the secret room and looked at the First Elder in puzzlement. What happened? Take this. Leave the Feng family with those 100 children in a few days. The First Elder's expression was a little grim as he directly handed Feng Miao a storage ring. But, what do you mean, First Elder? Feng Miao's handsome face showed a confused expression. Were they expelled from the Feng family? We haven't found Su Xing yet. Go out and hide first, the First Elder explained. These children were the Feng family's future hope, and nothing could happen to them. First Elder, isn't Su Xing the only one left in the Su family? There are so many of us. Before Feng Miao could finish, the First Elder interrupted him. You can't be too careful. I can't risk the future of the Feng family. Moreover, the Su family is so ambitious, so who knows if Su Xing has other hidden forces. The First Elder said worriedly. Then what should we do? Feng Miao asked worriedly. If the First Elder's concern became a reality, then wouldn't the remaining Feng family members? The Feng family's future is the most important, the First Elder said somewhat ruthlessly. I know what to do. Feng Miao's handsome face had a hint of sadness. He didn't even know if he would have the chance to return here in the future. Protect them well, the First Elder reminded worriedly. Feng Miao nodded, his eyes slightly moist. A week later, Lung Ruoxue and Freak moved the selected people to a safe place and returned to the deserted general's mansion. In Lung Qingshan's study, Shuer, will Feng Da and the others suddenly return? Lung Qingtian asked worriedly. Shuer had sent these people away to do mercenary missions and train. No. How could they come back so easily with Big Brother Feng and Feng Da around? Lung Ruoxue had given them a task before they left. No one was allowed to return unless she allowed them to, or everyone advanced to spiritual sovereign. What about Guiyong and Guichang? Lung Qingtian felt a headache when he mentioned the two brothers. He had said all sorts of harsh words, but they refused to leave. Ignore them. They should have means to protect themselves. Lung Ruoxue didn't know what to do with them. They probably regarded their general's mansion as an inn. Shuer, you know them best. They told me not to bother with them as well. Lung Qingtian sighed helplessly. Grandpa, it's getting late. Rest early. Lung Ruoxue left Lung Qingshan's study with Freak and went back to their rooms to sleep. In the distant northern Frost Empire, there were mountains surrounded by tall, lush trees in a remote and perilous mountain range. Su Xing was hiding in a dark, damp cave under one of the mountain peaks. As he hid in the cave, his clothes were tattered, his hair was disheveled, and he looked pathetic. But his ferociousness had not diminished at all. Instead, it became more and more intense, and the killing intent and hatred in his eyes could not be concealed at all. At this moment, Su Xing was sitting by a bonfire, holding a piece of spirit beast meat still dripping with blood. He was gnawing at it fiercely. At this point, he was definitely treating this piece of beast meat as Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen. Lung Ruoxue Yi Chen, and the Yi family, I will never let you go. I want you to die with the Su family. Su Xing murmured viciously to himself. The hatred in his eyes was so intense that it would make people tremble with fear. During this half a month, he had been recuperating while hiding like a street rat, and he had never dared to stay in one place for too long. Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen were the reason for his miserable situation today. Oh right, there's also that unknown old man. I will definitely not let them off. Thinking of this, Su Xing carefully took out a black pearl from his storage ring. The pearl was about the size of a thumb, dull, and very inconspicuous. But if anyone dared to underestimate the ability of this pearl, they would definitely regret it. Chapter 186. Freak Revealing His Might. 6. Su Xing took out the pearl and held it in his palm. He looked at it with slight infatuation, as if he was looking at a lover, for a while before returning it to his ring. This pearl was passed down from the ancestors of the Su family and was a very magical item. It was even the reason why the Su family could become one of the 5 great families. Unfortunately, this pearl had a limited number of uses and could only be used 5 times. After so many generations, the Su family had already used it 4 times. Now, there was only one last chance, so he had been hesitating. Su Xing stood up and paced around the cave while thinking about the pros and cons and the future of the Su family. However, he was the only one left in the Su family. Where was there any future? His greatest wish now was revenge. With this in mind, Su Xing steeled himself and took out the black pearl again. He bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood on it. After the pearl absorbed the blood, it instantly released a dazzling light that illuminated the entire cave. After the light faded, the image of a middle-aged man appeared in front of Su Xing. This man was in his 40s with good features, a pair of sharp eyes, and a domineering air of superiority. Su Xing knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "The 20th patriarch of the Su family, Su Xing, greets old patriarch." "Get up." "Su Xing, why did you call me?" The middle-aged man in the image said coldly with an expressionless face. "Old patriarch, our Su family is gone. Please take revenge for our family." Su Xing sobbed with overflowing hatred. "What do you mean?" the man called the old patriarch asked sternly. "The Su family of the Ling Feng continent was destroyed." Su Xing explained the situation with a pained expression. "Who is it? Who is so bold to provoke our Su family?" The Su family's old patriarch roared with a dark face. "It's Leng Ruoxue, Yichen, and an unknown old man," Su Xing quickly said. "Did you just say that the people who destroyed our Su family are called Leng Ruoxue and Yichen?" the old patriarch asked to confirm. "Yes, they are the masterminds," Su Xing said hatefully. "Is Leng Ruoxue a member of the Leng family?" the old patriarch continued asking. "Yes. Leng Ruoxue is from the Leng family, and Yi Qin is from the Yi family," Su Xing answered honestly. He would never dare to lie to his ancestor even though he was eager to seek revenge. "The Leng family? This isn't easy to deal with," the old patriarch muttered to himself. "It would be fine if it wasn't the Leng family, but since she was from the Leng family, old patriarch, you have to uphold justice for us." Su Xing knelt on the ground and kowtowed nonstop. Blood flowed down his forehead, making his already disheveled appearance even more horrifying. "Stop kowtowing. Get up. I'm thinking of a way," the old patriarch said impatiently. "Old patriarch." Su Xing stopped kowtowing but didn't dare to stand up. In front of the old patriarch, he was just an insignificant descendant. If the old patriarch was worried about the Leng family and didn't dare to uphold justice for him, then he had no other choice. So at this moment, he was extremely nervous. If Leng Ruoxue weren't from the Leng family, the old patriarch wanted to say something but stopped himself. His face was full of difficulties. "How did you offend her?" the old patriarch questioned unhappily. "We did it all for the prosperity of the family. Leng Ruoxue has spots for the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. In order to obtain the spots, but we didn't expect the Yi family to betray us and leak the news. And then Leng Ruoxue destroyed us." Su Xing's face was full of pain. The Yi family was originally their ally, but they betrayed them in the end. Therefore, he hated the Yi family more than Leng Ruoxue. At this moment, he didn't know that the Yi family had already disappeared from this world. "I see," the old patriarch said after a moment of silence. "Alas, the mystic realm. You really make people love and hate you. Every time you appear, you bring countless hopes to people. But at the same time, you bring disaster to people. Old patriarch, you have to take revenge for us." Su Xing begged. He had no choice but to rely on the old patriarch now. "Revenge? Do you think it's so easy to take revenge?" Then why do I have to say so much rubbish to you? The old patriarch shouted with a stern face. The Su family of the Ling Feng continent was very important to him. Now that it was gone, he was also very distressed. But if he wanted to take revenge, he had to pay an immense price, in addition to being wary of the Lung family. Old patriarch, actually, according to my guess, the Lung family probably lost contact with the upper realm a long time ago, Su Xing said after some thought. Are you sure? The old patriarch asked anxiously. If so, then there was nothing to fear. It's not just the Lung family. The other 4 great families and the imperial families should also be in the same situation, Su Xing took the opportunity to say. As long as the old patriarch was willing to send people down, the Su family would definitely be able to take revenge. Therefore, he had to convince the old patriarch. Old patriarch, this is a good opportunity. As long as you send people down, our Su family can unite the Ling Feng continent, Su Xing continued to coax. Do you think we can just casually send people down? There's a massive price to pay, the old patriarch reprimanded with a displeased face, but he was slightly tempted in his heart. If the matter was really as his descendants said, then it would really be a good opportunity. Old patriarch, this is absolutely worth it. I promise you won't regret it, Su Xingyu persuaded anxiously. Let me discuss it with the elders. The old patriarch cut off the connection and disappeared. Old patriarch. Su Xing fell to the ground dispiritedly, his hands clenched into fists, feeling resentful and bitter, not even knowing that his fingernails were digging into his flesh. At this time, far away in the general's mansion in the Eastern Lagoon Empire, Lung Ruoxue had become everyone's personal chef. Shuer, what are we having for dinner tonight? Lung Qingtian looked curious as he watched Lung Ruoxue preparing dinner in the kitchen. They had sent the servants in the family away, and now they had to take care of their meals themselves, so Shuer naturally became their dedicated chef. Chapter 187. Come out to your death quickly. 1. Go out and wait. What can I do with so many people here? Lung Ruoxue looked at the expectant faces in front of her and couldn't help but feel a headache. These gluttons only knew how to eat every day. Okay, let's go. Little girl, take your time. We're not in a hurry. The old man quickly coaxed her when he saw that she was angry. Ever since he sent Li Yuan and the others away, he almost regarded the general's mansion as his home. Except for not sleeping here at night, he basically spent the rest of his time here. Old Lung, let's go. Don't affect Ruoxue's mood when she's cooking, Lin Liang said understandingly. Tihis. Lung Qingtian and the old man looked at Lin Liang with contempt. He was the one who led the way just now, and now he was pretending to be a good person? Shuer, let me help you. Freak, who had been standing quietly by the side, couldn't help feeling a little heartbroken seeing everyone leave. Ooh, my poor Shuer has actually become the cook of these people. No need. Stay there obediently, Lung Ruoxue said while cutting vegetables. In fact, if she could make those old men temporarily forget about that big trouble Su Xing by using food, it would be worth it even if she had to work a little harder. Okay. Freak was very obedient and stayed by the side like an obedient child. He didn't dare to disturb Shuer and just kept staring at her with his bright and shiny eyes very attentively. Freak, get them in to carry out the dishes. Lung Ruoxue ordered after half an hour. There's no need. We're here. The few old men poked their heads in from the kitchen window with a smile. The old men each carried the 2 dishes out of the kitchen tacitly without Lung Ruoxue's instructions. Lung Ruoxue and Freak followed them to the dining room. Hurry up and eat. Lung Qingtian said after everyone was seated. Lung Qingtian was about to pick up a piece of fish with his chopsticks when 2 people beat him to it. Just as he was going to threaten them, he found that the whole fish was gone. You. Lung Qingtian glared at the old man and Lin Liang, who were gnawing on half the fish each. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. These 2 old fellows are too fast. I was just a little slower, and the whole fish disappeared. This fish is really delicious. After eating the fish, the old man licked his fingers reluctantly and sighed. Of course it's delicious. Lung Qingtian rolled his eyes at the old man in displeasure. The fish was from the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and there was none in this world. It would be strange if it wasn't delicious. Grandpa, if you don't eat quickly, the other dishes will be gone, Lung Ruoxue reminded helplessly. Why are they so exaggerated? Every meal is like a world war. Hearing this, Lung Qingtian stopped talking and focused on his favorite dishes. After a satisfying dinner, everyone sat in the garden, enjoying tea and chatting under the moonlight. These days are really good, the old man said with emotion. Of course, the premise was that there was no such big trouble as Su Xing. Old man, shouldn't you be returning to the palace? Lung Ruoxue reminded. It was getting late, but the old man was in no hurry to leave today. How strange. Little girl, are you chasing this old man away? Boo. Someone actually despises me. I'm really too pitiful, the old man said with a sad face. He even pretended to raise his arm and wipe his tears with his sleeve. We are always being driven away by Junior Ant. You will get used to it, Guiyong said sympathetically, as if he had found a comrade in arms. You too are quite pitiful, the old man said sympathetically, as if he had found a bosom buddy. Do you regret not having met sooner? Lung Ruoxue asked in bewilderment. These two are really— No, Guiyong and the old man quickly denied and looked at Lung Ruoxue cautiously. Well, that's a pity. I thought you two would be a good match, Lung Ruoxue said with a look of pity and disappointment. Match for what? We're not a match for anything. The two immediately jumped away from each other as if the other was a virus. Match as friends. What else do you think it is? The smile on Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was so dazzling and touching. Moreover, her face was full of innocence, but her words were so evil that they let people's imaginations run wild. Little girl, you tricked us, the old man complained aggrievedly, as if Lung Ruoxue had done something unforgivable. Junior Ant, you are too evil. How can you bully your disciple nephew? Guiyong also complained. One word was written in his shrewd black eyes: wronged. Ah, old man, how can you be a match for Ruoxue? Lin Liang gloated, beaming from ear to ear. Brat Lin, how dare you laugh at this old man? Do you want to die? The old man unceremoniously vented his anger on Lin Liang. He couldn't bear to hit or scold that girl, but Lin Liang? Of course he wouldn't be polite. You only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Lin Liang said disdainfully. But to be honest, if he really fought with this old man, he might not be able to beat him. So what? Bite me. The old man roared provocatively. Continue bickering. I'm going to bed, Lung Ruoxue said softly to the two of them. Then she stood up and left the garden. Freak naturally followed Shuer wherever she went. All right, stop acting. Shuer is going back to her room. Lung Qingtian looked at the two who were still at daggers drawn. We weren't acting, the two of them said in unison. Then they turned their heads at the same time and ignored each other. Come on, Shuer isn't here. Who are you acting for? Lung Qingtian exposed them, but he was also quite touched. Chapter 188. Come out to your death quickly, 2. These two old men ignored their status and positions to fight like children every day because they were afraid that Shuer would worry about them. In fact, how could they not be worried about Shuer when she was worried about them? Shuer and Yi Chen were the two people Su Xing hated the most after all. If Su Xing appeared, he would definitely first look for Shuer and Yi Chen. This was also one of the main reasons why these two old fellows stubbornly stayed in the general's mansion. The other reason was naturally because of the dishes Shuer cooked. Alas! Which corner do you think Su Xing is hiding in? Why isn't there any news after searching for so long? Lin Liang said worriedly. He wouldn't be able to sleep well if he didn't get rid of Su Xing, alas. Probably hiding in a rat hole? That old thing is cunning. How can he be so easy to find? The old man said disdainfully. He hated Su Xing to the core, but he hated himself even more for letting that old thing escape. Old Lung, don't let Ruoxue and Yi Chen out of our sight. Su Xing hates them to death now, Lin Liang reminded. After sending some students away, he had given the other students and teachers of the academy a long holiday. Otherwise, he really couldn't leave and stay in the general's mansion all day. Yes, they are Su Xing's main targets now, the old man echoed. Su Xing definitely hated him, But Su Xing didn't know his identity, so he wouldn't find him for the time being. Don't you know that girl's personality? If she wasn't afraid that we would worry, why would she be so obedient and stay at home all day? Leng Qingtian said helplessly. He couldn't do anything about his precious granddaughter. In fact, Leng Qingtian was only half right about why Leng Ruoxue was willing to stay at home. The other half was to watch over them. She didn't want these old men to put themselves in danger just to get rid of Su Xing as soon as possible. Listening Snow Pavilion. Shuer, what do you plan to do? Freak asked curiously while looking at Shuer, who hadn't spoken since returning to her room. Freak, do you think we should continue waiting like this? What if Su Xing never appears? Leng Ruoxue looked up at Freak. She felt that this was too passive. In fact, if she wasn't worried about her grandfather and the rest, she would have used herself as bait to lure Su Xing out. What else can we do? Freak's black diamond-like eyes stared at Leng Ruoxue. Do you think we will lure him out if we go out together? Leng Ruoxue probed. She didn't dare to say that she would go alone, or he would definitely be angry. Shuer, Grandpa and the others won't agree with you doing this. Aren't you the same? Freak said seriously. To him, it was the same no matter when Su Xing appeared. It was not like they were unprepared. Instead, he was afraid that Su Xing wouldn't dare to come. But there has been no news from Hell and the Mercenary Union, Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. She was running out of patience after waiting for so many days. Shuer, Ling Feng continent is so big, it's not easy to find someone who wants to hide. Don't worry. I don't believe he can really hide forever. I think you must be bored staying home all day. Why don't we go out for a walk tomorrow? Freak suggested. Okay, then let's rest early today. Leng Ruoxue also felt that she should go out for a walk. She was going to be bored to death at this rate. Freak nodded. He waited for Shuer to fall asleep before quietly leaving her room. The next day, Leng Ruoxue and Freak finally managed to convince Leng Qingtian and the others and left the general's mansion. People were coming and going on the bustling streets as Leng Ruoxue and Freak walked side by side. What day is it today? There are so many people. Freak said curiously. I don't know. Leng Ruoxue was also a little surprised. Today isn't some festival in this world, right? Freak went up to an old man and asked very politely, Excuse me, sir. Why are there so many people on the streets today? The old man looked at the beautiful immortal-like couple in front of him and was stunned for a while before he recovered and said, Today is the grandest temple fair in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. It's only once a year, so of course there are many people. Young master and miss, you two are really compatible. Go to the temple and ask for a lot. Today's lot is very efficacious. The old man couldn't stay quiet after he started talking and kept rambling on. Okay, thank you, sir. After thanking him, Freak handed the old man an amethyst coin and immediately left with Shuer. Shuer, let's go ask for a sign. Freak said with great interest and looked at Leng Ruoxue expectantly. That's all a lie. How can you believe it? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Let's go, she continued after glancing at him. Seeing Freak's puppy-like expression of anticipation, how could she bear to refuse? She loved small animals the most. After they arrived at the temple, they drew a lot and then went to the reception desk. May I know what the two of you are asking for? Someone who looked like a charlatan asked. Marriage affinity, Freak said without hesitation. Oh yes, this is a very good lot. Congratulations on your marriage destined by the heavens. Shuer, did you hear that? I'm so happy. Freak couldn't help shouting. I knew that Shuer could only be mine, and no one could snatch her away. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead as she rolled her eyes at him. Alas, as a spiritualist, he actually believes these things like an ordinary person. Let's go take a look over there. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly said when she saw that more and more people were watching. Freak nodded and squeezed out of the crowd with Shuer. In a private room in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Is she Leng Ruoxue? A young man asked the old man by his side while standing by the window and pointing at a stunning beauty not far away. Chapter 189. Come out to die quickly. 3. The man was about 20 years old. He was handsome, had bright and enchanting black eyes, and a good temperament. He was dressed in a black garment with golden borders, and golden dragons were embroidered on both sleeves with golden threads, making him look even more noble and extraordinary. It was as if a god had descended, and people could only look up at him. "Grandfather, she is Leng Ruoxue, the enemy of our Su family," the old man, Su Xing, who had been in hiding, quickly replied respectfully. Even though Su Xing had changed his appearance, he still looked like an old man, but even his relatives might not recognize him. "I want this Leng Ruoxue. That man can be killed," the young man said expressionlessly. A trace of viciousness flashed across his handsome face, destroying his noble nature. "But grandfather, Leng Ruoxue is the enemy of our Su family," Su Xing said unwillingly. "If Leng Ruoxue didn't die and even became, what revenge would he have? He would just be depressed to death." The young man narrowed his eyes and said coldly with slight displeasure, "How dare you question my words? Leng Ruoxue is your enemy, not my young master's enemy." A middle-aged man walked over. "Yes, your grandchild knows." Su Xing suppressed his rage and swallowed his anger. Now, he still had to use these people to take revenge for him. Moreover, he had to count on them to take care of him in the future. So even if he was angry in his heart, he absolutely didn't dare to show it. But it was precisely because he had suffered a lot in front of these so-called ancestors that he hated Leng Ruoxue and Yichen even more. "I heard that this restaurant originally belonged to the Su family?" the middle-aged man asked. "Yes, this restaurant was originally called the Spring Wind House and a property of our Su family. But now, it has been taken over by the Hua family," Su Xing said through gritted teeth. "The Hua family? I won't let them off either. No matter what they took from our Su family, I will make them spit it out intact. You're really not an ordinary piece of trash." The middle-aged man glanced at Su Xing disdainfully and reprimanded him. "Yes, Su Xing is useless. But we were also betrayed by the Yi family, that's why." Su Xing looked at the middle-aged man aggrievedly and stopped talking. "Are you sure that the Yi family betrayed you? Didn't the Yi family get destroyed just like the Su family?" The middle-aged man said with a look of disbelief. "Yichen said it himself. It can't be fake." "I'm guessing that the Yi family was killed by Leng Ruoxue and the others," Su Xing said, thinking he was smart. The middle-aged man nodded. It was possible. However, Leng Ruoxue was too cruel. "Young master, when should we go back?" the middle-aged man asked respectfully. "What's the hurry? We've only been here for 2 days, the young man said in objection. He didn't want to go back so soon. "Young master, when we came, the patriarch ordered us to return as soon as possible," the middle-aged man continued, unwilling to give up. "Grandfather, why don't you go back first? We will bring Leng Ruoxue over for you," Su Xing said with a fawning face. This young master would be his greatest backer in the future. He couldn't afford to lose him. "You have to be gentle with such a beauty. Don't hurt her and don't let her lose a strand of hair," the young man said after some thought. "Grandfather, don't worry. We will take good care of her," Su Xing quickly promised. But in his heart, he couldn't wait for this grandfather to scram home early. With him around, he really had to serve him like a grandson. Since he would be his backer in the future, then he would wait to serve him well in the future. At least now, he didn't want to be a grandson all day. "Let's go back." The young man turned to the middle-aged man. "Yes, young master." After sending them out of the inn, Su Xing immediately returned to the private room. "Honorable seniors, thank you for your help." Su Xing bowed gratefully. These people were the most important to him now. "We're all family. There's no need to be so polite," one of them said. "Yes, seniors. May I ask when you intend to take action?" Su Xing couldn't help asking. "What's the rush? They can't run away. Everyone will be dead except for the woman young master wants," another said. He, no rush, no rush. Let's wait for you to have enough rest before we make a move," Su Xing hurriedly echoed to please them. He didn't dare to make these masters unhappy. "Huh, Su Xing, you are quite sensible." A man in his 30s stood up and patted Su Xing's shoulder. "Seniors, I have already arranged your activities for tonight. I guarantee that you will be satisfied," Su Xing said with the demeanor of a lackey, no longer having the demeanor of a former patriarch. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and bring us there. Someone shouted impatiently. Seniors, let's go. Su Xing bowed and was the last to leave after everyone left. Leng Ruoxue and Freak walked around the streets for half a day and then returned to the general's mansion at noon. Swear, we would have starved to death if you didn't come back, Leng Qingtian quickly complained when he saw his granddaughter return to the garden. Grandpa, you guys seem to be having a good time playing chess. You don't look like you're going to starve to death. Leng Ruoxue seemed very helpless against her grandfather's coquettish behavior. If you didn't return, there'd be no one to cook for us. If we don't play chess, what can we old men do? The old man stared at Leng Ruoxue. They were people who led pampered lives. Making them cook was harder than killing them. I'm going to cook now, Leng Ruoxue said with self-awareness. After feeding the old men, a day quickly passed. On an afternoon a few days later, Leng Ruoxue and the others were discussing something in Leng Qingshan's study when an arrogant roar sounded from outside. Chapter 190, Come out to die quickly. 4. People of the Leng family, come out to die quickly. Coming. The old man was the first to speak. Everyone exchanged glances and rushed out of the study together. Leng Ruoxue and the others came to the general's mansion's courtyard, but the scene they saw surprised them. Dozens of figures were floating in the sky above the general's mansion. Su Xing was in the middle of everyone and looking down at them arrogantly as if they were dead, while those dozens of people were deliberately releasing their might. All of them were expressionless, and their eyes showed disdain as if they were looking at ants. This is bad. These people are actually spiritual deities. The old man's expression changed as he sent a voice transmission to everyone. Damn it. This Su Xing is really ruthless. He actually found so many spiritual deities to help. Even he felt a little strained under the pressure of these dozens of spiritual deities. Then what should we do now? Lin Liang's face was a little grim. The matter had clearly exceeded the scope of their control. Swear. Leng Qingtian glanced at Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She understood what her grandfather meant. He wanted her to take them all into the heaven and earth bracelet to prevent unnecessary losses. With this in mind, she secretly contacted Qin Ju. We can't fight them head-on. The only way now is to run. It's better than all of us dying here, the old man said after some thought. It was not wise to use eggs to hit rocks. They were smart people and wouldn't do such a foolish thing. Then run. You guys run first. I'll cover the rear. Lin Liang steeled himself. He was ready to die. What are you trying to show off for? You guys go first. I'll cover your retreat. The old man's words carried the most weight, and he rolled his eyes at Lin Liang, seemingly saying, Are you stronger than me? Who can escape with so many spiritual deities? Leng Qingtian asked in return. The old man and Lin Liang were instantly speechless. Yes, who could escape with so many spiritual deities around? But should they just sit and wait for death like this? That wasn't their style. Since we can't run away, then we'll fight it out with them. Little girl, find an opportunity to run by yourself, the old man said resolutely after thinking about it. Yes. Ruoxue and Yichen, you two run when you have the chance. Don't worry about us, Lin Liang echoed. Shut up you two. Well listen to Shuer, Leng Qingtian said domineeringly. Leng Ruoxue was a little touched as she listened to the voice transmissions of the three old men. It seemed that she had good insight. At least, other than her grandfather, Grandpa Lin and the old man were not afraid of death. Moreover, they were still willing to risk their lives to help the others retreat first in such a dangerous situation. You had to know that the more dangerous it was, the more it tested a person's heart. Qing Ju, Leng Ruoxue called out in her head. Big sister, I'm ready, Qing Ju replied from the heaven and earth bracelet. Leng Ruoxue nodded slightly. Then with a thought, she immediately brought everyone present into the heaven and earth bracelet. Where is this place? The old man and Lin Liang looked at the suddenly changed environment. Obviously, they couldn't adapt for a while. But they clearly felt that the spiritual pressure released by the spiritual deities had all disappeared, and the spiritual energy here was so dense. This is Shuer's space. We are safe now, Lung Qingtian explained. Fortunately, Shuer had this heaven-defying space. Otherwise, they would all be dead meat today. Ruoxu's space? The little girl's space? Lin Liang and the old man spoke in unison, their faces full of surprise and disbelief. In contrast, Yichen was much calmer, and he was currently plucking fruit from a tree to eat. Master left it for me, Lung Ruoxue explained calmly as she picked a fruit from a tree. Master? Ruoxu, I've never heard that you have a master, Lin Liang said curiously. He's dead, Lung Ruoxue said sadly. She would definitely avenge her master if she had the chance. I'm sorry. I didn't know, Lin Liang said, a little embarrassed. Damn it. Why am I so curious? It's okay, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Old man, where did you get that fruit? Lin Liang turned his head and saw the old man holding an unknown fruit the size of 2 adult fists. He was gnawing on it, and the juice of the fruit was flowing down the corner of his mouth. From a tree, of course. The old man pointed at the fruit trees not far away, as if it was obvious. The fruit was really delicious, and there was so much spiritual energy inside that it was scary. Old man, why don't you, Lin Liang was about to say, why don't you know any manners, when he realized that everyone except him was gnawing on a fruit. Hey, brat Lin, relax. We just escaped from death. Don't be so nervous. Since this is the little girl's territory, why should we be polite? The old man didn't treat himself as an outsider at all. Moreover, he adapted quickly and was obviously not too curious. Upon hearing this, Lin Liang was speechless. It had even become his fault? Master, you don't have to be so polite. Lung Ruhan emerged from the purple bamboo house and chuckled. Ruhan, I didn't know you were here. I thought. Lin Liang looked at his beloved disciple with a face full of joy. I've been staying here since you sent everyone away, Lung Ruhan explained. There were Qingju and so many cute beasts here, so he didn't feel lonely at all. Ruhan, I thought I would never have the chance to see you again, Lin Liang said excitedly while holding Lung Ruhan's hand. Lung Ruhan and his master were catching up while the others were eating fruits and observing the situation outside. At this time, the general's mansion was in a mess. Su Xing and the others, who had thought victory was in their hands, saw Lung Ruoxue and the others suddenly disappear in the blink of an eye, and they were utterly depressed. Chapter 191. Luring the enemy into an urn. 1. Where did they go? Su Xing muttered to himself furiously. He had come excitedly with his helpers, but not only did he not kill a single person, but Lung Ruoxue and the others had disappeared instead. He was so depressed. Could they have invisibility sacred artifacts? A spiritual deity guessed. Is that possible? Su Xing couldn't believe it. Why hadn't he heard of sacred artifacts that could turn things invisible? How is that impossible? You're too ignorant, the spiritual deity said disdainfully. The level of this dimension isn't as high as ours, so it's normal that he doesn't know. Another spiritual deity interrupted, helping Su Xing out. What should we do now? Su Xing looked at the spiritual deity who spoke up for him with gratitude. Find them. I don't believe they can escape so quickly. Even though there were invisibility sacred artifacts, given the strength of those people, it was almost impossible to leave the general's mansion without alerting them. Okay. A few spiritual deities immediately went to search the general's mansion. Inside the heaven and earth bracelet. Little girl, will they find us? The old man couldn't help asking. It was not that he was afraid of death, but the disparity in their strength would be very disadvantageous to them if they faced them head-on. No, don't worry. Lung Ruoxue comforted. Where did Su Xing find so many spiritual deities? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement. Yes, isn't there supposed to be no spiritual deities on the Ling Feng continent? Lung Ruoxue was also a little puzzled. From what she knew, the strongest humans on the Ling Feng continent now were spiritual supremacies. Spiritual deities seem to have disappeared for 1,000 years. They're not from the Ling Feng continent at all. The old man snorted coldly with contempt. He really didn't expect Su Xing to be able to contact people from the upper realm. This Su family is really a disaster. You mean? Lung Qingtian suddenly understood. Grandpa, what's the matter? Shuer, the reason why there are no spiritual deities on the Ling Feng continent is that the spiritual deities have all gone to another dimension. To put it simply, after becoming a spiritual deity, they will ascend to a higher dimension. These people should have descended from that dimension, Lung Qingtian explained. These things were recorded in the Lung family's genealogy. But if not for the old man's reminder, he really wouldn't have remembered. He had also never told Shuer and Ruhan about these things because they were still young. Can people from higher dimensions descend as they please? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. The Ling Feng continent was not the only space in the universe. She had heard from her master as well, but she remembered that her master had also said that people from higher-level dimensions couldn't enter lower-level dimensions at will. Otherwise, it would cause spatial chaos, and at the same time, they would be obliterated by the heaven and earth laws. Then these people? Of course not. If they could descend casually, then wouldn't the Ling Feng continent be the backyard of those powerhouses? The old man said, "Didn't they descend?" "Little girl, if those people want to come to the Ling Feng continent, they will have to pay a massive price. Moreover, these people are only spiritual deities. Spiritual deities might be the top powerhouses on the Ling Feng continent, but they are only at the bottom of the hierarchy in the upper realm. More importantly, the heaven and earth laws don't allow powerhouses above spiritual deity to enter the Ling Feng continent. Otherwise, why do you think the Su family only sent these spiritual deities down?" The old man explained patiently. He believed that no one knew more details than him on the entire Ling Feng continent. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Although the Su family had only sent spiritual deities, they were not existences she could deal with at her current stage. When she thought of this, a sense of frustration welled up in her heart. During this time, it had been too smooth sailing for her, and she almost didn't encounter any setbacks. But the appearance of these people woke her up, letting her know that she wasn't omnipotent nor the strongest. But at the same time, these people aroused her intense fighting spirit. Because if she couldn't even defeat these people, then not to mention the strongest enemies she would have to face in the future, she probably wouldn't even be able to protect her loved ones. Through the heaven and earth bracelet, Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes coldly sized up the spiritual deities wantonly destroying the general's mansion, and she remembered their appearances. As the saying went, it was never too late to seek revenge. She might not be their match now, but it didn't mean that she would never be able to deal with them. "How is it? Did you find them?" A spiritual deity asked his partner in the general's mansion. "There isn't even a fly," a spiritual deity said and cursed nonstop. "Seniors, we have to find them. We can't let them run away," Su Xing said anxiously. "Of course we have to find them, but we can't find them now," a spiritual deity in black said impatiently. "Su Xing, do you have any good ideas?" "I have an idea. We can't find them, but we can force them out." Su Xing felt that his idea was really too good. "How do we force them?" a spiritual deity asked. How could they force them when there wasn't even the shadow of a single person in the huge general's mansion? "We can use the commoners of Phoenix City to force them to show themselves," Su Xing suggested after some thought. The commoners of Phoenix City aren't related to the general's mansion, so they wouldn't be in their consideration. "If it were you, would you come out?" someone said while looking at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Lung Qingtian is a great general after all. I don't dare to say it for others, but he definitely won't leave those ordinary people alone," Su Xing said with great certainty, his face full of confidence. "Let's give it a try then," the spiritual deity said in agreement. Afterward, Su Xing led dozens of spiritual deities out of the general's mansion, which they had gained nothing from, gloomily toward the busiest street in Phoenix City. "These people are too despicable." Lung Qingtian roared furiously within the bracelet. "Old Lung, calm down. Aren't you just doing what they want?" Lin Liang walked to Lung Qingshan's side and comforted him. Chapter 192, Luring the Enemy into an Urn, 2. Then what should we do? Lung Qingtian glared at Lin Liang with some displeasure. Su Xing was right that he really cared about the lives of ordinary people. Unfortunately, what Su Xing didn't know was that he, Lung Qingtian, cared more about the safety of his loved ones and friends. Although those people were innocent, he couldn't be so noble as to endanger his family and friends for strangers. He was also selfish. Don't worry. Let's discuss a good plan, the old man said. They really didn't know what Su Xing was thinking. He actually planned to use ordinary people to threaten them. In fact, at their level, how many of them would be soft-hearted? Whose hands were not stained with blood? Moreover, they could even sacrifice relatives if necessary. So what were these commoners? It's definitely not wise to go out to die while knowing that they're threatening us, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. However, I can go out and lure them away, Leng Ruoxue continued. It was impossible to send her family and friends to their deaths because of strangers. But if the commoners were persecuted because of them, it was also not the outcome they wanted to see. She could leave them in the lurch, but she didn't want anyone to be hurt because of her. She was also very conflicted about this. No way, the few people present said in unison. Even the beasts that slowly surrounded her had disapproval written all over their faces. Master, I won't let you out. The little black fox jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms coquettishly. Yes, master. It's too dangerous outside. Don't go out, Rise said as he wrapped himself around Leng Ruoxue's wrist. Master, Charm will be worried. Charm also jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms. The people outside were all spiritual deities of similar strength to them, but they outnumbered them by more than twofold. With such a huge disparity in combat strength, it would be wise to hide and wait for the right opportunity. Master! The word worry was written in Quill's sharp eyes. Don't be so nervous. I'm just going out to lure them away. If there's any danger, it'll come in immediately, Leng Ruoxue explained. She probably wouldn't have such thoughts if not for the heaven and earth bracelet. In that case, well, go out with you, the old man said after some thought. He couldn't let the little girl go out alone. Instead of worrying about her inside, it would be better to go with her. No, you stay inside. If too many people go out, we will become separated. We won't be able to take care of each other then, and it will be easy for problems to arise. Leng Ruoxue denied the old man's idea. Okay, all of you stay inside. I definitely have to go with Schwer, Freak said seriously while chewing on a spirit fruit. Schwer better forget about leaving me behind. You stay inside too. Leng Ruoxue said unquestionably. Schwer, Freak looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly with tears shining in his eyes. Don't play dirty. Leng Ruoxue said without any room for negotiation and immediately left the heaven and earth bracelet. Then Leng Ruoxue summoned Quill. Quill, let's go lure those people away. This is the only thing we can do for the innocent commoners now. Leng Ruoxue sat on Quill's back and patted his giant eagle head gently. Yes, master. Quill nodded happily. He flapped his huge wings as he jumped into the air. He knew that his master wouldn't leave him behind. What's so great about him? Isn't it just a pair of wings? Dazzle said with a face full of envy in the bracelet. Boo, why don't I have wings? If I could fly, Master wouldn't have called that stinky bird out. That's right. Actually, I can fly too, but Master has never asked me to fly. She only calls that annoying bird. Rise complained. He also grew a pair of wings after advancing to Divine Beast. But unfortunately, his master had never used him once. Boo! Master doesn't love me anymore, Charm, who had always been composed and understanding, said with some disappointment. Schwer is mine. Yi Chen roared furiously as he looked at the beasts wallowing in self-pity. Master is ours, the beasts shouted in unison, unwilling to be outdone. Leng Qingtian and the others had a few black lines on their foreheads as they listened to the conversation between Yi Chen and the beasts. Alas, the enemies outside were eyeing them, yet they were fighting within. Outside the heaven and earth bracelet, Quill carried Leng Ruoxue and quickly caught up to Su Xing and the others. Su Xing, are you looking for me? Leng Ruoxue stood on Quill's back in midair, facing Su Xing and the others. A puny little spiritual sovereign actually dares to be so arrogant, Su Xing said disdainfully while looking at Leng Ruoxue with hatred. That's better than exploiting the might of others. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile, neither irritated nor angry. Leng Ruoxue, you're dead meat. I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger, his eyes shooting out raging flames. Really? I really want to know why you won't let me go? Leng Ruoxue deliberately provoked. Su Xing couldn't take it anymore. He was about to rush over and kill Leng Ruoxue when someone stopped him. Young master said that Leng Ruoxue can't be killed, said the person who stopped Su Xing expressionlessly. Senior, don't worry. I won't kill her. I just want to teach her a lesson so that her claws don't hurt Grandpa, Su Xing explained. Don't hurt her face, the man warned coldly before retracting his arm, no longer stopping him. Thank you for granting my wish, Senior. Su Xing bowed gratefully. It seemed like his efforts during this period had finally paid off. Otherwise, why would these people be so easygoing? Leng Ruoxue, take this. Just as Su Xing was about to use his frosty palm, he saw the eagle flying away with Leng Ruoxue. He was so angry. Chase! Someone said. Su Xing and the others released their flying spirit beasts to chase after Leng Ruoxue. Quill, fly slower, Leng Ruoxue said very kindly. These people might be spiritual deities, but it was obvious that they didn't do well in the upper realm. Otherwise, why would their spiritual beasts be inferior to hers? Chapter 193, Luring the Enemy into an Urn, 3. Yes, Master. Quill flapped his wings gently and slowed down. Moreover, he would look back from time to time. If he saw those people catching up, he would increase his speed. Otherwise, he would fly slowly. Hurry! Hurry up! We're about to catch up, Su Xing said anxiously while constantly hitting his spirit beast. They were about to catch up just now, but in the blink of an eye, Leng Ruoxue escaped again. Su Xing was incomparably depressed. Just like that, Su Xing and the others chased after her until they forced her into an uninhabited valley. Leng Ruoxue, let's see where you can run to now. Su Xing laughed arrogantly. His face had a triumphant expression, and his sinister and vicious eyes released a bloodthirsty glare. Who said I was going to run away? Can't you see that I was specially waiting for you? Leng Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Continue being stubborn. There will be a time when you cry later, Su Xing said nonchalantly. Alas! No one believes the truth. What kind of world is this? Leng Ruoxue said helplessly, but she was communicating with her grandfather and the others in the bracelet. Grandpa, do you have any plans? Leng Ruoxue asked in her head. Swear, there are 11 people outside now, including Su Xing, right? Leng Qingtian asked to confirm. Yes, a bunch of people are missing. I don't know where they went, Leng Ruoxue said. When she stopped Su Xing and the others just now, she found that nearly half the people were gone. Afterward, she lured these people here according to what her grandfather said. Swear, it's a good opportunity for us now that they are not at full strength. As long as we kill them here, we will be safer when we find an opportunity to get rid of the others, Leng Qingtian explained. They wouldn't dare to take this risk if they didn't have so many divine beasts on their side. Okay. Leng Ruoxue also felt that this was a good opportunity. Otherwise, when everyone from Su Xing's side was here, they really wouldn't be their opponents. Leng Ruoxue die. Su Xing slowly activated his frosty palm, ready to strike at any moment. Do you think you're the only one with help, and I don't? With a thought, Leng Ruoxue released her grandfather and the others, as well as all their beasts. Huh, you cowards are finally willing to show yourselves? Su Xing laughed hysterically when he saw Leng Qingtian and the others appear. He was really afraid that they would never dare to show themselves again. As for the cute and fluffy beasts, he automatically ignored them. You still don't know who the coward is? You only knew how to hide in a mouse hole without help, but you start being cocky when you find help. Be careful. Joy begets sadness. The old man said. It was fine when the old man was silent, but Su Xing was almost angered to death as soon as he spoke. Damn it, you old thing. State your name if you have the guts. Su Xing glared furiously, wanting to skin this old man from God knows where alive. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Do it. Lin Liang was getting impatient. He had never felt so aggrieved in his life. Charm, I'll leave those people to you, Lung Ruoxue said softly as she caressed Charm's soft and fluffy fur. Charm nodded as his luxurious purple eyes scanned the spiritual deities, just watching the excitement. He wanted to test the strength of the human spiritual deities. Humans, I want to see whether spiritual deities or us divine beasts are better today, Charm said indifferently. His noble and elegant temperament simply made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Haha, did we hear you wrong? A palm-sized little fox like you actually dares to call yourself a divine beast? A spiritual deity laughed out loud without giving face after hearing what Charm said. There were not many divine beasts in their world, so he didn't believe at all that this fox could be one. You will regret underestimating your enemy, Charm said calmly. He had decided that this guy would be his opponent. After deciding on his opponent, Charm turned to look at his companions and communicated silently before directly flying at the human spiritual deity who despised him. Leave that ugly short fatty to me, Dazzle said. Then he shook his fluffy little tail and dashed toward his opponent. Then I want that thin monkey, Rise said reluctantly. He had also taken a liking to the short fatty, but a certain other beast beat him to it, so he could only choose another unique one to make do with. I want the one with black hair. Quill chose for a long time. No matter how he looked, he couldn't stand the sight of the man with thick black hair. After all, he was also black and had feathers. Lung Ruoxue listened to the discussions of her beasts. But must my beasts be so cute? Ruoxue, your beasts have character. Lin Liang praised. Hee, did you just realize it? Lung Qingtian smiled proudly. His granddaughter's beasts were very interesting. Thunder Knight, you should go too. Lung Qingtian turned his head and said to his beast. Yes, master, Thunder Knight replied and then flew out, heading straight for the opponent he chose. You guys go too. Don't embarrass master, the old man and Lin Liang said to their beasts. Yes, master. The two beasts heard their master's words and rushed to their opponents eagerly. The three of us will deal with the remaining spiritual deity. Leave Su Xing to Ruoxue and Yichen. Lin Liang said to the old man and Lung Qingtian while looking at the remaining two people. All right, little girl. I'll leave that old thing to you, the old man shouted while staring at Su Xing. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Su Xing and said indifferently, Okay, leave this old bastard to us. Damn girl, I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger. He was really pissed off. He was a spiritual supremacy after all, but he was humiliated by a little girl. How could he take this lying down? At this point, he only wanted to kill Lung Ruoxue to vent his anger, and he had long forgotten what the young master had said. Chapter 194. Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 1. After roaring, Su Xing directly threw out his ready frosty palm at Lung Ruoxue. The strong wind from his palm accompanied by a piercing chill drifted in the valley. While the frosty palm was flying toward her, Lung Ruoxue released her fire attribute spiritual power at the same time. A tremendous amount of fire attribute spiritual power blocked in front of her, forming a wall. Freak also used his black spiritual power to welcome Su Xing's frosty palm without fear. Su Xing had used at least 90% of his spiritual power in this strike, causing the already low temperature in the valley to fall even lower. The people and beasts fighting around them naturally felt the cold, and Lung Ruoxue and Yichen felt it even more directly. So cold! Lung Ruoxue, who was in the wind, couldn't help exclaiming. Fortunately, the fire attribute spiritual power she released dispelled part of the coldness. Otherwise, this strike alone could have frozen her into ice. Between him and Charm, I wonder who's better at ice skills? She couldn't help feeling a little curious. Schwer, it'll give you some warmth. Freak stretched out his long arms and shielded Lung Ruoxue in his arms, casually taking advantage of her. You adulterous couple! I won't let you go. You're all dead. Su Xing looked at Lung Ruoxue and Yichen, who were still flirting and teasing each other in the middle of the battle. He was so angry. Adulterous couple? Freak, is he talking about us? Lung Ruoxue asked with a confused expression. But she didn't delay at all and released her spiritual skills one after another. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Lung Ruoxue threw the spiritual skills out regardless of whether they were single target or group attacks. Whether they were fire, water, or wind spiritual skills, as long as they were offensive ones, she threw them at Su Xing. For a time, colorful spiritual powers flashed dazzlingly in the sky of the entire valley. Opposite them, Su Xing was jumping around in a sorry state, and sparks were flying from his body. All sorts of spiritual powers surrounded him, seemingly teasing him and attacking him from time to time. "We are not adulterers. We are legal. Swear, when are you going to give me a title?" The freakingly beautiful face was full of anticipation, and his watery black eyes blinked non-stop. While speaking, he didn't stop what he was doing and released a ball of black spiritual power to liven things up after seeing how Su Xing was in such a sorry state and hopping about. With the addition of the ball of black spiritual power, Su Xing seemed to be in an even more pathetic state. The spiritual powers seemed to have disgusted over and switched with each other alternately to attack him. What kind of evil spiritual skills are these? Fight me one-on-one if you dare. Su Xing provoked loudly. Freak, he wants us to fight him one-on-one. You shameless old man. You brought so many people to kill us, but you still have the cheek to get us to fight one-on-one? Freak said with a face full of scorn. That's right. You old monster, don't you have any shame? The old man, who was fighting with a spiritual deity, couldn't help interjecting to agree. Freak, let's not play with him anymore. Let's end this quickly. Lung Ruoxue said. Okay. He nodded. A ball of black spiritual power gathered in his palm again. He held the black spiritual power ball and said softly, Go! Destroy him! The spiritual power seemed to understand. It jumped twice slightly, then charged at Su Xing at the speed of light and disappeared into his body. At the same time, Su Xing also unleashed his second and third strikes, attacking Lung Ruoxue and Freak. After 2 consecutive strikes, the temperature in the valley plummeted several degrees lower than before, and a layer of ice even formed over the surrounding mountains. Little girl, kill him quickly. It's so cold. The old man yelled, finding it a little unbearable. Ooh? He was getting old, so he was most afraid of the cold. All right. Freak, move aside. Freak obediently took a few steps back and gave up his spot to Shuer. Lung Ruoxue took out her sharp sword, which gleamed coldly. Su Xing, I'll let you have a taste of my meteor sword technique. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. After Lung Ruoxue integrated Feather of the Fire Phoenix into her sword technique, its power increased several times. A silvery white light with a burning tail feather rapidly flew toward Su Xing. The spiritual phoenix feather circled Su Xing twice, then divided into countless feathers of the same size and began to circle Su Xing. Su Xing dodged left and right. After evading the feather, he didn't even have the chance to show off before he realized that the feather was splitting and becoming more and more numerous. What's going on? Su Xing was instantly dumbfounded. The small phoenix feathers didn't give Su Xing any chance to react and prepare to unleash his fourth strike. Instead, they directly surrounded him from head to toe. In an instant, Su Xing became a fiery man. Eha! A blood-curdling scream resounded from the Human Torch. A few seconds later, the Human Torch fell to the ground. On the other side of the battlefield, the beasts were still engaged in a fierce battle with their enemies. You damn beast! I'm going to kill you! The spiritual deity Fighting Charm roared in anger. This damn fox actually killed his spirit beast. He wouldn't let it go. You are the beast, a giant fox more than 10 meters tall said calmly. Charm was currently in his strongest combat state, and the human spiritual deity was like a dwarf compared to him. Have a taste of my ice purgatory, Charm said and sent a stream of ice attribute spiritual power toward the spiritual deity. The cold was bone-piercing, and in the blink of an eye, the spiritual deity was frozen into a human-shaped ice sculpture. At this point, the battles of the other beasts were almost over, and only Lung Qingshan's group was still fighting on the battlefield. Master, do you need my help? Thunder Knight said a little worriedly while watching the battle. In a fight of the same level, humans wouldn't be able to defeat spirit beasts, so their opponents were almost too weak to withstand a single blow. But their master's opponent, was stronger than their masters, so it seemed a little strenuous. Chapter 195. Deliberately complicating an issue accident. 2. No need. Lung Qingtian replied. How could they let such a good opportunity slip by? Even though this guy was stronger than them and had an advantage in level, the pressure of a spiritual deity was still bearable for them. While releasing heavenly spiritual skills, Lung Qingtian kept throwing numerous spiritual power recovery pills into his mouth. The old man and Lin Liang did the same. You are despicable. The spiritual deity fighting with them had never seen anyone taking pills like this. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. You are the despicable ones. We're just giving you a taste of your own medicine, Lin Liang said nonchalantly. It was good to have an alchemist by their side. Otherwise, who would dare to eat pills this way? Fatal blow, the old man suddenly shouted when he saw that the time was ripe. Okay. Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang were ready at the same time. After receiving the signal from the old man's eyes, they simultaneously launched their strongest attacks. Divine Flame Blade. Wind Blade Slash. Light of Water. Red, green, and light blue spiritual powers simultaneously attacked the only living spiritual deity. As soon as the three spiritual powers entered the spiritual deity's body, they began to engage in a relentless battle within his body. Cracking sounds resounded from the spiritual deity's body. The spiritual deity had a pained expression as his face turned red, then green, and finally blue. Ah! The spiritual deity screamed in pain. Immediately afterward, the spiritual deity's body exploded into smithereens with a bang. Ah, we've finally succeeded. It really wasn't easy, the old man said with a face full of emotion. He originally thought they were dead for sure, but things took an unexpected turn. Not only did they not die, but they even killed half of the opponents. How lucky! Yes, it was truly too harrowing. Let's slowly deal with the remaining people when we have the chance. Lin Liang wiped the sweat off his forehead. Fighting with the spiritual deity was really exhausting. Fortunately, they had those pills. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to kill the spiritual deity. Fortunately, those people separated, Lung Qingtian echoed. Little girl, let's clean up the battlefield. Although these spiritual deities seemed poor, they might have some things we can use. The old man took off the storage ring of a spiritual deity and scanned it with his divine sense. His face instantly turned very ugly. What's the matter? Lung Qingtian was puzzled. He took the ring from the old man's hand, glanced at it, and immediately fell silent. These guys were poorer than I imagined, the old man explained as Lin Liang looked at them with a questioning gaze. Then, should we still clean up? Lin Liang asked after a pause. Of course. These are our spoils of war, Lung Qingtian said after some thought. He reckoned that the old man and Lin Liang would follow them in the future. How much would it cost to support so many people? Thinking of this, he couldn't help having a headache. Okay. After hearing what Lung Qingtian said, everyone and the beasts went to clean up the battlefield and destroy the evidence. Seeing that everyone was helping out, Lung Ruoxue began observing the uninhabited valley alone. The valley was about 30 to 40 meters deep, and there was no end to it at a glance. Moreover, it was surrounded by mountains, and the temperature was several degrees lower than outside. Most importantly, the soundproofing here was good, so much so that no sound escaped despite their intense battle just now. This place is really a good place. Shuer, be careful. Ruoxue. Little girl. Master. Lung Ruoxue suddenly heard everyone's voice. She was about to turn around when she saw Su Xing, who was charred all over, rushing toward her like a madman. It turned out that Su Xing had been pretending to be dead and had gathered his remaining spiritual power in his palm when no one was looking, planning to deliver a fatal blow to Lung Ruoxue. Su Xing actually didn't die? Lung Ruoxue was shocked. But before she could react, Su Xing had already attacked her. Suddenly, a tall figure shielded Lung Ruoxue and blocked Su Xing's palm for her. Immediately after, several streams of spiritual power rushed over at the same time and hit Su Xing together. Su Xing's body softened and fell to the ground. This time he was really dead. Freak! Lung Ruoshue screamed in fear as she hugged Freak, who was falling nonstop. Sparkling tears poured out of her eyes uncontrollably, and her heart suddenly felt empty, as though she had lost something important. Schwer, my Schwer, don't cry. Don't cry. It'll be fine. Freak wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and comforted her. Schwer was crying for him. He was so happy, but his heart ached too. Just, you will be fine. I won't allow anything to happen to you. Lung Ruoshue said domineeringly while hugging Freak tightly. Schwer, I'm so cold. Freak whispered. Su Xing's frosty palm was really vicious. He felt as though there was an ice blade cutting his body. Fortunately, it hit him. Otherwise, Schwer's tender skin and flesh wouldn't have been able to bear it. I will hold you and won't let you be cold. Lung Ruoshue hugged Freak even more tightly as her tears fell drop by drop like pearls. Let me see. The old man came to their side and frowned. Then he grabbed one of Yi Chen's hands to check. How is it? Lung Qingtian and the others, who were farther away, arrived. The frost poison entering the body is really too poisonous, the old man said softly and shook his head gently. Alas, there was no hope. This was the vicious part of the Su family's frosty palm. After being hit by its frost poison, Ice Attribute spiritual power would take the opportunity to enter the body and wreak havoc on the Bodhi's functions. Moreover, Su Xing had just used a technique that would cause an internecine outcome, so, after hearing what the old man said, Lung Qingtian, Lin Liang, and the beasts all felt unusually heavy. Alas, it was originally a perfect plan, but who knew that such an accident would happen? This was really... Chapter 196, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 3, Freak. Freak, wake up. Don't leave me. Lung Ruoshue screamed in agony when she saw the unconscious Freak. Her heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. Schwer, calm down. It is already... Lung Qingtian couldn't continue. He checked Yi Chen's breathing just now, but it was already gone. He only fainted. I will heal him. I won't let him leave me. Lung Ruoshue hugged Freak's body and returned to the Heaven and Earth bracelet with a thought. Schwer, Big Brother will help you. Lung Ruhan's heart ached when he saw his sister's desperate look. He hurriedly took the freezing Yi Chen from Lung Ruoshue. Thank you, Big Brother. Please help me carry him into the purple bamboo house. Lung Ruoshue said abnormally calmly. Lung Ruhan nodded. Carrying Yi Chen's cold body, he entered the purple bamboo house and placed him on the jade bed inside. Big Brother, thanks. I want to be alone with Freak, Lung Ruoshue said lightly. Okay, then Big Brother will go out, Lung Ruhan said helplessly. Alas, Schwer's current appearance really worried him. In his heart, it was better that Schwer cried or threw a tantrum than being so calm. Ruhan, how is Schwer? Lung Qingtian asked worriedly after returning to the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Very bad, Lung Ruhan said honestly. He didn't want to scare his grandfather, but Schwer's current condition was really not good. Alas, how did this happen? How did Su Xing survive? Schwer's flames are extraordinary. Lung Qingtian was puzzled. I once heard that the Su family seems to have a secret technique that can fake death. Moreover, the Su family primarily uses Ice Attribute spiritual power. I think he used Ice Attribute spiritual power to freeze himself and then fake death, Lin Liang explained. He actually thought that the Su family's secret technique was a joke when he had heard it. He didn't expect it to really exist. Let's go out and kill the remaining spiritual deities to vent our anger for the little girl, the old man suggested. Alas, he was anxious because he couldn't help. If killing them will bring Yi Chen back to life, it'll go now. Lung Qingtian said furiously. Then what do you suggest we do? The old man frowned aggrievedly. Of course, we have to keep an eye on Schwer. What if she can't think things through? Lung Qingtian said worriedly. Even if a knife was hanging over his head, he wouldn't leave his granddaughter now. Inside the purple bamboo house, Lung Ruoshue stood motionlessly by the side of Freak, who was beginning to freeze. Tears kept welling up in her eyes. In fact, she knew very well that he was dead. Freak! Lung Ruoxue couldn't help calling out softly. The situation when she first saw him was still deeply etched in her mind. She remembered the first time she saw him. She had a premonition that this guy was definitely in big trouble, and the fact was that she was right. She had seen many men in her 2 lifetimes, but this was the first time she had seen a person being so coquettish, even though she knew very well that his coquettish behavior was only for her. In front of outsiders, Freak was definitely devious and terrifying. Freak liked to act coquettishly, liked to be jealous, liked to take advantage of her from time to time, all the memories relating to him were still so clear at this moment. It turned out that Freak had already entered her heart unknowingly, but she knew nothing about it. All along, she had thought that she only regarded him as one of her own. But she knew that it wasn't true today. Freak had unknowingly occupied her heart a long time ago. But why? It was only when he left her did she know how important he was to her. But it wasn't until she lost him that she realized she loved him. Boo! At this point, her tears rolled down uncontrollably. Freak, I love you. Lung Ruoxue murmured. Freak, you haven't said you love me to me, so you can't leave me like this. I won't allow it. Freak, I will find you no matter where your soul goes. Freak, I'm very overbearing and possessive. Don't even think about leaving me since I've discovered my feelings for you. Freak, you are mine whether you're alive or dead. You can only be mine whether you live or die. Got it? Freak, wait for me obediently. Wait for me to find you. Outside the purple bamboo house. It's been so many days. I wonder what Schwerer is doing now. The word worry was written all over Lung Qingshan's face as he paced back and forth. Grandpa, big sister is fine. Trust me, Qing Ju quickly comforted. He had always been in control of the situation in the purple bamboo house. Big sister hasn't taken things too hard. It just, alas. In short, it's still all right. Old Lung, don't worry since Qing Ju said so. Outsiders like us can't help with matters of the heart. Ruoxue can only rely on herself to think things through, Lin Liang said helplessly. Ruoxue alone was enough to make them worry, but old Lung actually added to the trouble. But it's been 10 days without eating or drinking, Lung Qingtian couldn't help saying. Grandpa trusts Schwer. Lung Ruhen walked to his grandfather's side to console him. Damn old man, all you know is to eat. Lung Qing'an couldn't help cursing when he turned his head and saw the old man gorging himself again. What do you know? It's called turning grief and indignation into appetite, the old man boasted shamelessly. Alas, he was also worried about the little girl. But he couldn't think of a better way, so he could only vent by eating. Quill is back, Qing Ju said suddenly. When the 2 old men saw Quill return, they stopped quarreling and quickly asked, Quill, what's happening outside now? Most of the Ling Feng continent has already been occupied by those spiritual deities. Moreover, the Hua family and the Feng family also suffered heavy casualties, Quill explained. Those people were really too arrogant. They had already eliminated all the forces unwilling to rely on and pledge allegiance to them on the Ling Feng continent. Chapter 197, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 4. What about the Eastern Lagoon Empire? There are no countries on the Ling Feng continent anymore. The old man fell silent after hearing what Quill said. Think about it. Those things are just worldly possessions. At least your descendants are still safe now, Lung Qingtian comforted. I know. The old man nodded. Even though he had been prepared for this, he was still a little sad when he heard it. After all, it was the foundation of his Li family. Alas, it's a mess. Lin Liang sighed helplessly. In a commoner house in a remote town in the north of the Ling Feng continent. Feng Moran and others were hiding here. Deputy Leader Feng, what's happening outside? As soon as Feng Moran returned from inquiring about the news, the people waiting anxiously in the house surrounded him. The situation isn't good. Feng Moran's slightly tired face was full of worry. What about my family's old master and young miss? Lu Tao asked worriedly while holding Feng Moran's sleeve tightly. They're missing, and those spiritual deities have been looking for them. But I heard that they haven't been found. I think they should be safe now, Fong Moran quickly consoled. Big brother, how is the Fong family now? Fong Oren asked anxiously. Gone. Fong Moran said with mixed feelings. Even though the Fong family hadn't treated him well, they were relatives related to him by blood. When he first heard this news, he felt very uncomfortable. Gone. Fong Oren was stunned for a while. When he recovered, he grabbed Fong Moran's arm tightly and said anxiously, Big brother, you're lying to me, right? The Fong family has the first elder and grandpa. How can they be gone? It's impossible. Impossible. Oren, those people are spiritual deities, the top existences on the Ling Fong continent. Fong Moran didn't know how to console his brother because he knew that Oren definitely had deeper feelings for the Fong family than he did. Oren calmed down. You still have Big brother. I will take care of you, Fong Moran continued. Big brother. Tears streamed down Fong Oren's face as he threw himself into Fong Moran's arms and cried bitterly. The Anaconda mercenary group is here. Fong De shouted as he ran in from outside. Big brother Fong De, what should we do now? Lu Tao was a little flustered. The Anaconda mercenary group had long sought refuge with the spiritual deities. Moreover, the Anaconda mercenary group knew their identities, so they had been pursuing them relentlessly. Hurry up and find a place to hide. Leave those scumbags to me and Deputy Leader Fong. Fong De hurriedly made arrangements. Their young lady was missing, so he had the duty and responsibility to protect the safety of these people. He couldn't let down their young lad's trust. After hearing what Fong De said, everyone in the yard quickly found a place to hide, lest they drag the two of them down. Fong De, you're quite good at hiding. The voice of Zhang Jian, the young master of the Anaconda mercenary group, sounded from outside the yard. Zhang Jian, you are a dog of the Su family. Why didn't you obediently lick your master's ass but instead come out to stroll around? Fong De said with disdain and mockery. Damn it. Who did you say is a dog? Zhang Jian roared furiously as he walked into the yard. Is there anyone else here besides you? Fong De's shrewd eyes scanned the surroundings, looking for other people. Fong De, you are dead for sure. But I will spare your life if you tell me the whereabouts of Leng Ruoxue and the others, Zhang Jian said in a seemingly magnanimous manner. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Fong De said nonchalantly. Then die. Go kill them both. Zhang Jian roared and took the lead to attack Fong De while his subordinates attacked Fong Moran. Zhang Jian, is this all you've got? Fong De easily dodged Zhang Jian's attack and attacked with his backhand. He infused his spiritual power into his hand and slashed at Zhang Jian. Zhang Jian was slow to react and was cut. Just you wait. Zhang Jian roared with killing intent in his eyes. Come out, Black Dragon. With Zhang Jian's roar, a huge black python appeared in front of everyone. The python's enormous body stood upright, almost covering the entire yard. His fierce and cold eyes stared at Fong De and Fong Moran. Fong De and Fong Moran smiled at each other in tacit understanding. Fire Dragon, come out and meet this black dragon. Fong De said with eyes full of smiles. Master, I'm here. With that, a gigantic fiery red beast jumped out and occupied the entire sky above the yard. Heavens, what is this? Someone from the Anaconda mercenary group murmured in disbelief. Is this a dragon? A real dragon? Another person said dumbfoundedly. No, that's impossible. No one can contract with a dragon. Zhang Jian was even more unwilling to believe what he was seeing. Fong De was only a captain of their mercenary group in the past. How could he have a dragon as a spirit beast? This was too much of a shock for him. The black python was equally agitated. The arrogance he had when he first emerged immediately faded when he saw the real dragon. Boo! He was just a snake even though his master called him Black Dragon. You're called Black Dragon? Fire Dragon's large eyes glared at the black python threateningly. I am Black Dragon, the python named Black Dragon said tremblingly. He no longer had the majestic appearance he had when he first emerged. Stand properly. Why are you swaying? You're a level 8 holy beast after all. Don't be so useless, okay? Fire Dragon roared with displeasure, looking very much like a big brother lecturing his little brother. Yes. Black Dragon stood up straight, but he still shook uncontrollably. Boo! You can't bully a snake like this. Although he was a level 8 holy beast, what was he compared to a divine beast? Especially a dragon, which had the highest status among spirit beasts. Black Dragon, kill them. Zhang Jian was aggrieved when he saw his spirit beast behaving like an obedient grandson in front of the enemy. What was going on? It wasn't easy for him to obtain a level 8 holy beast. He originally thought that he could show off, but who knew? Chapter 198. Reunion, Baby Awakens, 1. Master, he's a divine beast. I can't do anything. Black Dragon choked, so depressed that he was about to cry. Fire Dragon, attack and kill them. Leave this snake's corpse intact so that we can eat its meat. Feng De said to Fire Dragon with a smile and looked at Zhang Jian with slight mockery. How satisfying. Having a good spirit beast is so cool. No problem, Master, Fire Dragon said confidently. His confidence had soared after becoming a divine beast, and he was no longer the timid, fearful, and bullied dragon. How dare you have designs on my master? The Fire Dragon roared furiously. He spat a scorching dragon breath at Zhang Jian and the others, and everyone in the Anaconda mercenary group died in an instant. You actually didn't die? Fire Dragon asked curiously while looking at the snake. Wouldn't spirit beasts die with their masters? We signed an equal contract, Black Dragon explained with a long face. Oh, but my master wants to eat your meat, so you have to die too, Fire Dragon said helplessly. Hee, the feeling of bullying others is really good. No, don't kill me. I'm willing to be your contract spirit beast, Black Dragon pleaded on the verge of tears. But my master finds you ugly, so you'd better die. Fire Dragon opened his mouth and spat out a stream of flame that shot straight at the black python. The flame was like a sharp blade, and with a swish, it sliced through the thick skin of the black python. The black python was unable to resist as he crashed heavily onto the ground and choked to death. Deputy Leader Feng, what should we do now? Feng De asked after tidying up the yard. Let's go somewhere else and find Shuer and the others first, Feng Moran said after some thought. Shuer wasn't here now, and they had brought so many people with them, so it was really inconvenient. Okay, I'll get them to pack up. Feng De turned around to notify the mercenary group. Even though he really wanted to get rid of the Anaconda mercenary group, he first had to ensure the safety of his companions. Fire Dragon, take us to a place with few people. Feng De patted Fire Dragon's back after everyone gathered in the yard. Okay, Master. Fire Dragon nodded his huge dragon head in the air. After everyone sat on him, he flapped his giant wings and rushed into the sky to find a safe place. At this moment, Lung Qingtian and the others were still waiting anxiously in the Heaven and Earth bracelet. No, I have to go in and take a look. Lung Qingtian really couldn't wait any longer after half a month. Grandpa, big sister is out. Qing Ju pulled Lung Qingshan's arm. Really? Lung Qingtian looked at the purple bamboo house uncertainly. Sure enough, he saw his precious granddaughter walk out from it. Shuer. Lung Qingtian hurried forward, his face full of concern. Grandpa, I'm sorry for making you worry, Lung Ruoxue said guiltily. She knew that everyone around her was worried about her. But she had already adjusted her mood. It's okay as long as you're willing to come out, Lung Qingtian said excitedly. It seemed like his granddaughter had thought it through, so he was relieved. Old man, Grandpa Lin, big brother, I'm sorry for making you worry, Lung Ruoxue said apologetically while looking at them. Ruoxue, we are family. There's no need to be so polite, Lin Liang said quickly. Yes, little girl. I also consider you my family. Old man quickly made his intentions clear. In fact, there was still one thing he hadn't said. In his heart, this girl was more important than his descendants now. Stop trying to steal my granddaughter. Lung Qingtian roared with jealousy, his face full of displeasure. Unfortunately, Lin Liang and Old Man completely ignored Lung Qingtian and surrounded Lung Ruoxue to ask about her well-being. Looking at how they were reacting, Lung Ruoxue would be lying if she said she wasn't touched. Moreover, she knew that from this moment on, she also regarded Old Man and Grandpa Lin as family. "Master," Dazzle called out softly. Then he took the lead and threw himself into Lung Ruoxue's arms while sobbing. "What's the matter, Dazzle? Why are you crying? Who bullied you?" Lung Ruoxue asked as she caressed Dazzle's soft and fluffy fur. "I thought that Master doesn't want us anymore." "Boo-hoo," Dazzle said pitifully, his face full of grievance, tears wetting his shiny black fur. "Silly, how could I not want you?" Lung Ruoxue said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. "Master!" Charm and the other beasts rushed into her arms as well. Lung Ruoxue's body and feet were surrounded by beasts. She hugged them, touched them, and looked at their pitiful appearance that seemed as though she had abandoned them. She was happy and amused. "I'm sorry for making you worry," Lung Ruoxue said sincerely. These cute beasts were also her family. Having a lot of beasts is good. "How caring!" Old Man said with envy. "Master, are we not caring enough?" Old Man's beast, a snow-white ice bear, said with tears all over his face. Yes, caring, you are also caring," Old Man said with a face full of black lines. "When did my beasts learn to pretend to be pitiful? It's really killing me. Alas, it's all the fault of little girl's beasts." "Ah, Old Man, that's what you get for spouting nonsense. Your beasts must be jealous." Lin Liang gloated. "Brat Lin, how dare you laugh at me?" Old Man glared at him fiercely. "Have you two shameless old men been replaced? Why are you bickering more and more now?" Lung Qingtian said helplessly. "None of your business," the two of them yelled at Lung Qingtian in unison. "Stop arguing. Grandpa, what's our next step? Do you have any plans?" Lung Ruoxue walked to their side helplessly. "Not yet, but the continent is in chaos now. Many places have been occupied by the spiritual deities, and the Feng and Hua families have also suffered heavy losses," Lung Qingtian explained. Chapter 199, Reunion, Baby Awakens, 2. "They must have been looking for us, right?" Lung Ruoxue guessed. "Alas, I wonder how Big Brother Feng and the others are doing. Did they encounter any danger?" "Yes, but none of us went out." "Grandpa, I want to look for Big Brother Feng first." "I'm afraid they will be in danger," Lung Ruoxue said after thinking for a while. Although Big Brother Feng and the others had 2 divine beasts, the enemy had almost 10 spiritual deities. If they knew the relationship between Big Brother Feng and her, those people would definitely not let him and the others go, so she had to find him before them. "Okay." Lung Qingtian nodded in agreement. Feng Moran and Feng Da also had divine beasts. This way, their strength would increase a little. "Then let's leave this place." Lung Ruoxue exited the Heaven and Earth bracelet and released Quill. "Quill, let's go find Big Brother Feng and the others." Lung Ruoxue said softly. "Yes, Master." Quill flapped his enormous wings, rose into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon. After Lung Ruoxue and the others left the uninhabited valley, a young man came to the bottom of the valley shortly afterward. Along with him was a little mink almost the size of an adult's fist. The little mink was silvery white and had no stray hair. Its watery blue eyes were like the sea, deep and enchanting. "Is it here?" the young man asked the anxious little mink. "Yes." The little mink nodded. This was the right place. "Lung Ruoxue? Lung Ruoxue, where are you?" The young man shouted from the bottom of the valley, but no one responded. "She's probably gone," the young man said helplessly to the little mink, but he was panicking in his heart. "Ooh, my little grand-aunt, where did you go?" "I'm dead meat." "Where did she go?" the little mink asked anxiously, its eyes brimming with tears as a sense of loss welled up in its heart. "Don't cry. We will find her. We will find her," the young man said anxiously. "My master, a man can sweat but not shed tears. It's all your fault. You're so useless," the little mink said angrily. His beautiful blue eyes were even bluer, and they were burning with raging flames. "Master, you can't blame me for this. I've been looking for her with all my might. It wasn't easy to find a place where you could stay temporarily, the young man said aggrievedly. Alas, the weather in June changed so quickly. His life was really miserable. After searching for so long, you only found this place, and you still have the cheek to say that. It would have been better if the young man didn't quibble. The little mink turned hostile immediately. If it wasn't because I need to rely on him to find her, I really want to use my sharp little claws to scratch his face. Master, this subordinate has tried my best. The young man felt even more wronged than Do-un. It wasn't that he couldn't find her but that his master's was too special. Alright. Cut the crap. Hurry up and bring me to her, the little mink roared with displeasure. He raised his little head arrogantly and didn't even look at the young man. Got it? The young man left the valley with the little mink. At this time, Lung Ruoxue had been flying in the sky for 2 days. She had searched every corner of the Eastern Lagoon Empire but didn't find any trace of Feng Moran and the others. Then Lung Ruoxue flew toward the Southern Dusk Empire. Master, there are people fighting not far below, Quill said after scanning a radius of 10,000 meters. Oh, do we know them? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly. If she knew them, she would help. If she didn't, she couldn't be bothered. After all, finding Big Brother Feng and the others was more important. Yes, there are people from the Hurricane Mercenary Group among them, Quill explained. Then let's go. After receiving Lung Ruoxue's order, Quill slowly folded his wings and descended. When they saw a giant eagle descending, both parties stopped fighting simultaneously. I have good luck with women today. Such a beautiful girl actually came knocking on my door, a somewhat wretched-looking middle-aged man said with a lewd smile after seeing Lung Ruoxue get off the giant eagle. His eyes looked at Lung Ruoxue lecherously, almost drooling. Miss, quickly leave this place. They're not good people, a handsome middle-aged uncle hurriedly shouted to Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue looked at the attitudes of the two parties toward her indifferently and couldn't help sneering in her heart. How can I leave this place? There's a spiritual deity here. Yes, Mississippi, leave quickly, another middle-aged man with a righteous look said. If I leave, you will all be dead, Lung Ruoxue said softly. If she guessed correctly, these two middle-aged men should be the leaders of the two largest mercenary groups, the Hurricane Mercenary Group and the Universe Mercenary Group. Miss, the two middle-aged men were a little speechless. It seemed like this young lady was here to help them, but, even if you don't leave, they're dead for sure. Moreover, since you're here, don't even think about leaving. The wretched-looking middle-aged man laughed hysterically, as though he was listening to a joke. Really? Lung Ruoxue said indifferently with a face full of disdain. Quill, I'll leave the spiritual deity over there to you. Master, don't worry. He won't be able to run away, Quill said confidently. Master, I want to fight too. The violent Dazzle transmitted his desire, unwilling to be left out. Okay, all of you come out. Lung Ruoxue let out all her beasts, including the thousands of silver wolves, but not her grandfather and the others. Oh my God! Both parties on the scene were dumbfounded when they saw the lineup of spirit beasts. Little girl, isn't this too exaggerated? Old man in the bracelet couldn't help saying. There were several black lines on his forehead, and his little heart was thumping nonstop from fright. I think it's pretty good. Lung Qingtian smiled happily, his face full of pride. Tihis. Lin Liang and old man looked at Lung Qingtian disdainfully and fell silent. Outside the bracelet. 1. Refers to a Chinese play, The Injustice to Do-yi That Touched Heaven and Earth, written by Guan Hanqing. Chapter 200, Reunion, Baby Awakens, 3, Be Big Bro, What Should We Do? The lecherous man and his group were so scared that their legs were a little weak. All of them looked at each other's pale faces in panic. What are you afraid of? We have the great spiritual deity here. The wretched man forced himself to be calm, but his voice and legs were trembling. Grandpa spiritual deity, save us. The people hurriedly hid behind the composed spiritual deity to seek his protection. Useless things, how can a few spirit beasts scare you like this? The spiritual deity said with a face full of disappointment. He wouldn't care even if there were more holy beasts since there wasn't a divine beast. Someone is looking down on you. Get him together. Lung Ruoxue smiled at her beasts. Yes, master. The beasts replied and swarmed forward, especially the silver wolves, who charged straight at the spiritual deity. How dare you look down on our great silver wolf tribe? They'll let you have a taste of our power, the silver wolf king thought. Under the lead of Silver Wings, the silver wolf king, the silver wolves began to gang up on the spiritual deity. They directly used their most primitive attacks, biting and scratching, but not any spiritual skills. As for the spiritual deity, he was entangled by the silver wolves and didn't have the chance to attack before he was bitten to death. The others didn't end well either. The people on the two middle-aged men's side looked at this unbelievable scene with their mouths agape. No one could say anything. This is too formidable. Let's see who still dares to look down on our silver wolf tribe. Silver Wings said arrogantly. Today, he could finally hold his head high. After all, his master's beasts were too strong, so their silver wolf tribe had always been useless. Boo-hoo, there's no place for heroic wolves. Well done. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Silver Wings, you are not ordinary animals. Hee, this is what we should do, Silver Wings said, somewhat embarrassed. Miss, thank you for saving our lives. The two middle-aged men immediately walked to Lung Ruoxue's side after they returned to their senses. You're welcome. I don't save people casually, Lung Ruoxue explained. If they weren't from the Hurricane Mercenary Group, she really might not care. Miss, this is a token of our appreciation. Please don't mind it. One of the middle-aged men immediately realized what Lung Ruoxue meant and hurriedly took a ring off his finger to hand it to her. What does this mean? Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. Was it what she was thinking? Miss saved us. We can't repay you, so this, the middle-aged man was about to explain but was interrupted by Lung Ruoxue. I didn't save you for money. I'm friends with Big Brother Juri, Lung Ruoxue explained helplessly. So you know my son? This is great, the middle-aged man said happily, but his heart was racing. When did my foolish son meet such a strong lady? Commander Ju, I have something to do, so I'll be taking my leave first. Be careful. Lung Ruoxue brought all the beasts back into the heaven and earth bracelet and prepared to leave. Wait, miss, may I ask where you are going? The middle-aged man stopped Lung Ruoxue and asked. I'm going to look for the Blazing Flame Mercenary Group, Lung Ruoxue explained. Miss, the Blazing Flame Mercenary Group seems to have appeared in the Northern Frost Empire some time ago. You might be able to find them there, the middle-aged man suggested. All right. Thank you, Commander Ju. Quill, let's go to the Northern Frost Empire to look for them, Lung Ruoxue said to Quill. Yes, master, Quill replied before taking to the air and quickly disappearing. Upon reaching the Northern Frost Empire, Lung Ruoxue and Quill began a detailed search. 3 days later, Master, I think I see Fong Moran, Quill suddenly said. Where? Lung Ruoxue hurriedly asked. They had searched for several days, but Big Brother Fong and the others seemed to have disappeared into thin air. About 1,000 meters to the left. Quill, fly over. Who is it? Come out. Fong Moran, who was walking on the ground, suddenly shouted and kept looking around. Big Brother Fong, don't be nervous. It's me. Lung Ruoxue said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Why is Big Brother Fong so paranoid? Schwer. Fong Moran was excited to see Lung Ruoxue sitting on Quill's back. Big Brother Fong, are you all okay? Lung Ruoxue asked with concern. Alas, looking at Big Brother Fong's slightly haggard face, the pressure shouldn't be small recently. We're all fine. But Fong Moran hesitated, not knowing what to say. What happened to Fong Da? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Fong Da had a fire dragon, so nothing should happen to him. Fong Da was captured by the Dragon Clan, Fong Moran explained. The Dragon Clan? Is it because of his contract with Fire Dragon? Lung Ruoxue asked in realization. During the contract, her grandfather had said that the dragons were not to be trifled with, but she didn't take it seriously at that time. She didn't expect Fong Da to be implicated. Alas. It's all my fault. Feng Moran nodded. If they hadn't encountered an enemy that day, and Fengda hadn't used Fire Dragon, the dragons wouldn't have discovered them. Big Brother Feng, don't worry. I will save Fengda unscathed, Lung Ruoxue promised. If those dragons dared to hurt Fengda, I will destroy their nest and make them all homeless dragons. Swear, I'll bring you to where we're staying. Feng Moran nodded. Schwer was their backbone. There was nothing to worry about after he saw her. Big Brother Feng, come up. Lung Ruoxue beckoned Feng Moran, and they sat on Quill's back together. Quill flew over according to the address Feng Moran gave. After arriving at the residence Feng Moran spoke of, Quill descended in the courtyard. Chapter 201, Reunion, Baby Awakens. 4. Deputy Leader Feng, you're back. Cui Zhu was the first to see Feng Moran. Hey, look who's here. Feng Moran turned around and revealed Lung Ruoxue behind him. Miss. Cui Zhu shouted happily and sprang toward Lung Ruoxue. Miss? Where is she? Cui Zhu, are you dreaming? Lu Tao's voice sounded. Lu Tao. Lung Ruoxue called out softly. Miss, it's really you. Lu Tao couldn't believe her eyes. She was stunned for a moment, and when she came back to her senses, she also sprang toward Lung Ruoxue like Cui Zhu. Miss. Miss. At this moment, everyone in the mercenary group also rushed over and surrounded Lung Ruoxue. I'm relieved that you're all okay, Lung Ruoxue said excitedly as she looked at the familiar faces. Miss, how are the general and young master? Lu Tao asked worriedly. She had not had a good night's sleep since she found out about the incident in the general's mansion. They're fine. They'll bring you to see them now. Lung Ruoxue had long thought about arranging these people to cultivate in the Heaven and Earth bracelet. After all, these people had sworn an oath to her, so there was absolutely no problem with their loyalty. Moreover, these people in the mercenary group would be her greatest help in the future, so she had to focus on nurturing them. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue moved everyone into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Schwer, where is this? Feng Moran asked in bewilderment. Yes, Mississippi. Where is this? It's so beautiful, Cui Zhu said in amazement. This is my space. You will all cultivate here from now on, Lung Ruoxue said to everyone. Really? That's great. The spiritual energy here is so dense. Wow, this is simply a blessed land for cultivators. I'm dying of happiness. Everyone was excited. They knew very well that if their young lady allowed them to stay here, it meant that she would not chase them away anymore and that they could follow her forever. These children. They're really too easily excited. Lin Liang shook his head and sighed softly. You weren't much better than them when you first came in. Old Man immediately exposed him without giving him any face. Lin Liang gritted his teeth and glared at Old Man fiercely. But soon he was full of smiles because these children had already discovered his existence. Principal, you're here too. Lu Yen said on behalf of all the students. I will follow Ruoxue from now on. You can't despise me, this old man. Lin Liang pretended to be pitiful. Seeing Lin Liang pretending to be pitiful, Lu Yen and the others were at a loss for words. They thought that the principal was a serious person. It seemed like you really shouldn't judge a book by its cover. While everyone was chatting and catching up, Lung Ruoxue walked toward the purple bamboo house alone because Baby had woken up. As soon as she entered the purple bamboo house, a little black furball jumped into her arms. Big sister, Baby missed you so much. Baby's fluffy little face was full of attachment. Baby, you've slept for a long time, Lung Ruoxue said as she gently caressed Baby's fluffy and chubby body. He's actually still fat? Big sister, how am I fat? Baby complained coquettishly after hearing Lung Ruoxue's thoughts. His figure was very standard, okay? You're cuter if you're fatter, Lung Ruoxue coaxed. She cared a lot about her first little beast. Big sister, I didn't sleep so long for nothing, Baby said with a smug face, so proud that he was only short of raising his little tail. Did you have a fortuitous encounter? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. Of course. Baby is so capable now. Baby paused and continued, not only can baby read minds now, but I can also see through a person's soul. Moreover, baby will become more capable as I grow older. Baby is really capable. Then I'll have to rely on baby to protect big sister from now on. Lung Ruoxue coaxed very cooperatively. Little baby's smug look is really too cute. Baby will protect big sister. Baby will fiercely bite whoever dares to bully big sister. Baby raised his little face and said cockily. Bite? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Who can baby bite with his little mouth? Baby, Grandpa and the others are outside. Let's go. Baby nodded. He was reluctant, but he was a good, obedient baby. Lung Ruoxue left the purple bamboo house with baby in her arms. Swear, isn't this baby? He's awake. Lung Qingtian exclaimed in surprise when he saw the little black fur ball in his granddaughter's arms. Wasn't this little guy sleeping? Why hasn't anything changed even though he's awake now? It's so strange. Who says I haven't changed? I changed a lot. Baby, who heard Lung Qingtian's thoughts, said with dissatisfaction. Lung Qingtian was embarrassed. How does this little guy know what I'm thinking? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. Grandpa looks so cute. Swear, what are you laughing about? Lung Qingtian said, a little embarrassed. Grandpa, baby can read minds now, so of course he knows what you're thinking. Lung Ruoxue explained very kindly. Lung Qingtian didn't expect a spirit beast to have such a skill. It was too abnormal. With this thought, he subconsciously covered his chest and looked at baby cautiously. There's no point in covering it. I can see anything I want, baby said indifferently, his little face full of pride. Hee, baby, you are a good child. Can you tell Grandpa what those two old men are thinking? Lung Qingtian approached baby with an ingratiating expression and whispered mischievously while pointing at Lin Liang and old man not far away. Chapter 202, The Little Vermilion Birds Seeking Help, 1. Them? They're thinking about what to have for dinner. Baby opened his little mouth slightly and said softly. These two gluttons only know how to eat. Lung Qingtian couldn't help scolding them with a smile. Grandpa, food is the most important thing for people. It's normal to like to eat, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. These three old men now treat bickering as fun. That's true. Swear, what should we have for dinner tonight? Lung Qingtian asked. There were so many people now, and the food in the space was becoming less and less. Alas. He was a little worried. Let's eat outside tonight, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. There were few people before, so they could cook in the space. But with so many people now, it was obviously impossible. Oh right, Grandpa, where are they? Lung Ruoxue asked again. She looked around just now but didn't find any trace of Big Brother Feng and the others. They went out to look for materials to build houses, Lung Qingtian explained. Go out to look for what? Isn't there a bamboo forest over there? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Those children can't bear to use it. Lung Qingtian said helplessly. They're back. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue brought Feng Moran and the others into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Shuer, is this your new spirit beast? Feng Moran asked curiously when he saw the chubby little fur ball in Lung Ruoxue's arms. You are the new one. I am Big Sister's first spirit beast. Baby's face was full of displeasure. So many beasts actually pestered Big Sister while I was sleeping. So infuriating. Big Sister belongs only to me. No one is allowed to snatch her. I'll bite whoever robs her away. Feng Moran was speechless. This little beast is really too. Lung Ruoxue pulled a long face and scolded, Baby, don't talk to Big Brother Feng like that. Big Sister. Baby's eyes immediately welled up with tears. He looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully, his fluffy little face full of grievances. It's okay, Feng Moran said quickly. He was an adult and wouldn't fuss about it with an underage little beast. Big Brother Feng, you can use the bamboo in the bamboo forest. You don't have to look for materials outside. Moreover, you can use the bamboo in the space to build a room that can help absorb spiritual power, Lung Ruoxue explained. But there are so many of us. It probably won't be enough even if we use up all the bamboo. Feng Moran liked the bamboo forest the moment he saw it, but he was unwilling to use it. After all, every bamboo was full of spiritual energy. Big brother Feng, you don't have to worry about that. Things in the space grow very quickly, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Morancy? I was right, Lung Qingtian interrupted. Then let's use that piece of bamboo. Feng Moran didn't stand on ceremony since Shuer said so. Okay, Silver Wings, get the Silver Wolves to help Big Brother Feng and the others. Lung Ruoxue looked at the Silver Wolf King not far away. Yes, Master, Silver Wings answered and turned to summon his tribe. With the help of the Silver Wolves, the houses of Feng Moran and the others were quickly built. Well, not bad, not bad. Lung Qingtian looked at the newly built houses adjacent to each other, feeling very satisfied. Pretty fast. Old Man praised. After they finished with their lodgings, everyone left the Heaven and Earth bracelet and went outside to prepare dinner. After the meal, everyone left and busied themselves. Inside the Heaven and Earth bracelet, Shuer. Lung Ruoxue was sitting alone on a rock by the waterfall. When she heard Feng Moran's voice, she turned her head and saw him standing behind her. Big brother Feng, why are you here? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. After dinner, everyone went to decorate their new houses. She thought Big brother Feng was also doing the same. Shuer, are you all right? Feng Moran couldn't help asking concernedly. They already knew about Yi Chen, but no one dared to ask. I'm fine, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, but her eyes were fixed on the snow-white, almost transparent fish in the waterfall. Freak always liked to capture the fish here to eat. That's good, Feng Moran said with relief. Lung Ruoxue stood up and said to Feng Moran, Big brother Feng, I'm going back to my room to rest. You should rest early too. We will leave for the Dragon Clan tomorrow. Okay, good night. At the same time, the young man looking for Lung Ruoxue and the others had a depressed look on his face. In a commoner residence in a remote town. Didn't you say that Shuer is here? Where is she? The little silver mink roared furiously and occasionally flashed his sharp little claws to scare the young man. She was originally here, but it seems she's left again. The young man wanted to cry but had no tears. My grandaunt. Why are you running so quickly? He rushed over as soon as he received the news, but he actually couldn't make it in time. Boo-hoo, this master of his would probably go crazy if he couldn't find her, but not before he himself went crazy. Hurry up and think of a way to find Shuer. Otherwise, you know the consequences, the cute little silver mink threatened, his eyes releasing a terrifying cold light. Master, if my guess is right, Lung Ruoxue and the others will definitely go to where the Dragon Clan is. Why don't we just stay there and wait for the rabbit to show up? The young man analyzed with a fawning expression. You're the rabbit, the little silver mink roared angrily. Is there any rabbit as beautiful as Shuer? She's not a rabbit, not a rabbit. This subordinate said something wrong. The young man quickly admitted his mistake. Boo-hoo, a good child learned from their mistakes. Let's go to the Dragon Clan, the little silver mink said resolutely. Master is wise. Stop flattering me. You know the consequences if you can't find Shuer, the little silver mink said indifferently. Thus, the human and mink embarked on the journey to the Dragon Clan. On the way, Master, the chicken you want is ready. Please enjoy it. The young man eagerly handed the grilled chicken to the little silver mink, who was resting on a cushion with his eyes closed. Chapter 203, The Little Vermilion Bird Seeking Help, 2, It's Passable. The little silver mink took the grilled chicken, which was nearly 10 times his size, and said with dissatisfaction after taking a bite. Master, I've tried my best, the young man said helplessly. Master, your request is too high. Go and see who's interrupting my meal. Kill without mercy. The little silver mink said with displeasure while listening to the sounds of fighting coming from not far away. Yes. After receiving the order, the young man jumped up and flew toward the fight. A moment later, the young man returned. However, not only did he not return alone, but he even brought back a burden. I didn't permit you to bring anyone back, the little silver mink said with narrowed eyes, a little angry. Moreover, he actually brought someone he hated. Cold sweat dripped down the young man's forehead. He also felt that he had done something stupid. He had underestimated his master's jealousy. Boo! What should I do? I'm really dead this time. Mu Li, is this little mink your contract spirit beast? Huaqing suddenly asked. Although he didn't know why the little mink was so hostile to him, he didn't seem to like this arrogant little mink. You are the contract spirit beast. Your whole family is. The little silver mink immediately became furious after hearing Huaqing's words. It's not my contract spirit beast. Don't spout nonsense. The young man, Mu Li, exclaimed hurriedly. He was so scared that his face turned pale. Boo! This master isn't someone I can afford to contract. Oh, why don't you give it to me then? I happen to have a mink as well, so they can keep each other company, Huaqing said with a dazzling smile on his face. Keep each other company? Heavens! Mu Li was about to cry from anxiety. Oh my god, stop spouting nonsense. He's too petty. Even if you want to die, don't implicate me. Mu Li couldn't help sneaking glances at the little mink from time to time. Say it again? A certain little mink shouted and glared. I said, I'll find you a partner, Huaqing said with an ambiguous smile and summoned his spirit mink. Huaqing's mink was Snow White. Its fur was soft and smooth, and its black diamond-like eyes were clear and enchanting. Master, the snow mink called coquettishly and hopped onto Huaqing's shoulder. Oh, Shu'er, I found you a partner because I was afraid you would be lonely. Look at it. It's not bad. Huaqing pointed at the little silver mink as if he was presenting a treasure. Master, I like it. The eyes of the snow mink named Shu'er immediately lit up with countless little hearts upon seeing the adorable little silver mink, and its heart rate accelerated drastically. It even lowered its head shyly after speaking. Good taste. I knew Shu'er would definitely like it, Huaqing said happily. At this moment, Mu Li, who was very close to Huaqing, quietly moved away. Boo! I don't want to be implicated. Huaqing, don't drag me into this if you want to die. Mu Li, my Shu'er really likes the silver mink. How about it? Give it to me? Huaqing turned to look at Mu Li, his face full of anticipation. I can't decide, Mu Li said softly. He even felt like dying now. Moreover, he could clearly feel someone's anger brewing. Oh, Shu'er, looks like you have to woo it yourself. Huaqing shrugged helplessly, indicating that there was nothing he could do. Okay. Shu'er nodded before rushing toward the little silver mink shyly. The little silver mink, who was in a bad mood, didn't say a word and directly kicked. After that, there was a plop as Shu'er rolled onto the ground like a ball. After rolling for some distance, it slowly crawled back and pounced on the little silver mink again. Don't. Shu'er was kicked away again, and it crawled back again and again. It was abnormally determined and worked hard in the direction of its beloved. Mu Li was flabbergasted as he looked at the snow-white mink that had just turned black. He was at a loss for words. So persistent. Is the power of love really that great? While he was fantasizing, the little silver mink couldn't take it anymore. He stretched out his little fist and gave the persistent snow mink a good beating. How dare you have any ideas about me? Hey, why don't you feel sad that your spirit beast is being beaten up? Mu Li looked at Huaqing in puzzlement. How could a master smile when his spirit beast was beaten up? Hitting is affection. Cursing is love. I can't meddle in this young couple's affairs even if I'm its master. Huaqing said nonchalantly with a smug face. Upon hearing Huaqing's words, the little silver mink was brimming with hatred. Damn Huaqing, just you wait. When I get better, the first person I beat up will be you. Huaqing, take care. Mu Li looked at Huaqing sympathetically and didn't dare to bother with him, lest a certain someone became angry and beat him up too. Master, it's too fierce, but I like it. Shu'er walked unsteadily back to Huaqing's side, but its will was even more resolute. As a male, he had to tame this fierce mink. Ambitious. Master supports you. Huaqing approved. He felt that he was really too open-minded. Little Mu Zi, let's go, the little silver mink said to Mu Li and glared at Huaqing in displeasure. Oh, Mu Li replied helplessly. But he was wailing in his heart. Master, can you not call me Little Mu Zi? Where are you going? Let's go together. Huaqing said hurriedly. Even Shu'er, which was sitting on his shoulder, nodded in agreement. Don't follow us, the little silver mink said fiercely, his eyes shining fiercely. Ina, how can you treat me like this? You've hit me and scolded me, but you still want to chase me away. You're too heartless. Shu'er spoke up before Huaqing could say anything. Moreover, he even gave the little silver mink a name on his own. He even started crying after. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.